Oh, snap. I'm dancing.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm there.
oh man.
Whoa, look how big Stanton is on our
Yeah.
screen.
Stan is
Gosh.
huge on our screen, guys.
Wait, let me
He's
look.
big.
Let me look.
When you
Whoa!
look when you look like that,
Why am I so blurry?
you get the big screen.
Am I
I'm
blurry
out of
right now?
breath. I'm out of breath. You're a little blurry. That might
fine.
be you too.
This might be me uploading raw footage for a bride. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that.
Well played.
Well played. Well played. So,
dude, Stanton Giles is here, Nick. What's up,
I know.
Stanton?
It's exciting. Thanks for hopping on and being with us today.
It's a new face. It's a new me, really, because I mean, last time you guys saw me, I was backlog boy, saturated with edit Stanton. I can't come up with any good alliterations.
Yeah, that's terrible so far.
I know. I'm not. I was an engineer. I wasn't an English teacher.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I am on the other side of backlog now, which is insane, which is awesome. It almost makes me feel a little like, what do I do now? Because I'm not just editing weddings constantly. So,
You can hang out with us.
hey, you want to hang out for a couple hours?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
let's do it.
Sounds good.
For
What's
those
up,
of
everybody?
you for those of you that don't know me, that's films by Stanton Giles, wedding filmmaker of the year, Love Stories TV 2021 award winner. Oh my gosh, 2022. That's you. You are a big deal, and you're one of the guest speakers for our mastermind. I don't know if you heard it or not, but it's open application week for Mastermind 2023. Can I get a hootie hoo? Is this what cool kids do, Nick? No,
hootie hoo.
Oh,
what's a hootie hoo?
Don't even ask the question. It's
okay.
Nick, honestly, you're in the wrong for having to ask.
Oh, hootie hoo. Now what you want to do? I'm just gonna say.
Yeah,
it is a party.
Stoked to be here, guys. Thanks for having me. I like doing film reviews.
Well, we're gonna give you plenty of them to review. But yeah, it's a big week. Stanton is part of our mastermind guest speaker list for the year. Stanton, any ideas what you want to talk about this year for mastermind? Or are you gonna wait and ask the students, or what are you thinking you might lean into?
Well, I would love to ask the students. I feel like a lot of times when I go places, people are wanting me to talk about how to book destination weddings because that's kind of my thing. And I booked a lot of them, and it's kind of like my staple now. And so you can find out a lot of that kind of stuff on my YouTube channel. I talk about that. But like, I would love what I did last year was, talk about, the technicality of like, hey, like you see these filmmakers, you look up to how they shoot, but like, let's technically talk about how we're getting these shots. Let's break down the movements. Let me talk about like where I'm actually standing. Getting into the technicality of it to kind of like, I think I called the thing on pulling back the veil, like pulling back the veil on making very cinematic films. And so what I talked about, that's actually what I hate the word passion. I like the word passion, but it sounds cheesy when you use it, but I am passionate about that. Like I am, all about problem solving. So whatever problems the mastermind students like, whenever I do or that they saw my films, how do I do this? Like, I'm totally down to bridge that gap because there was people that did that for me, or I had to do that on my own. And it would be cool to be kind of a catalyst in helping people understand the thing that they don't quite yet know maybe. And so, but like really like to really help them understand it, not to like just come up with a presentation just to come up with a presentation. I really do want people to learn these things. So anyway,
I love it. I loved your
presentation.
Nothing
set in stone.
Yeah, I loved your presentation last year. I love that this year we have 26 guest speakers instead of 12. I mean, stacked, stacks on stacks. I think that's how the cool kids say it. That's talking about money though. Never mind. Okay, I'm old. We've established that. Nick, how in the heck does this film review thing work? Because there's 3 of us today.
Right. So
how are you gonna do this?
Normally we do it. We split the score out of 50, 25 for me, 25 for John. And so, but we are adding a third person, and we are just going to go ahead and up that to 75 total points for everybody. And then we have the score. So I'll adjust that in a second, but we base this on, there's 5 different categories. We have cinematography, audio, which includes speaking voice and sound design. We have editing, the story. Did it captivate us? Was it good? Did it tell a story? And then the color, look for it. And how we score these is 1 to 5. And 5 is going to be like top of the top, cream of the crop, incredible, really, really great. What did
top
I
of
say?
the top, cream of the crop.
Oh man, I could be a rapper or something. So it's an excellent in knowledge and execution. A 4 is going to be above industry standard. So that's what we're saying. And a 3 is industry standard. I know in the past, whenever people watch these, like, oh, this was better than a 3. This is better than a 3. The idea is that the 3 is like you are doing great. You are doing good. This is a solid wedding film, and people should be thrilled to have you a part of their wedding. So that's what a 3 is going to be industry standard. A 2 is below industry standard. You should work on this a lot. And a 1 is you need lots and lots of help with that one. And so we're going to rate these 1 to 5. On the screen up there, you're going to see that normally we do a 38 is an award, or a 45. Those numbers are changing today to 57 and 68 because there are 3 of us.
Math.
So if you get a 57 or above, you're going to get an honorable distinction. And if you get a 68 or above, you will be an official How to Film Weddings selection. So
what does that mean? What does the official selection mean?
You get featured on our Instagram account. As an official filmmaker. And then we also are going to create, it's on our long list. You're going to get a little badge to put on your website and say that you were a How to Film Weddings honorable selection, and have that as kind of a, social proof kind of stuff. And for your website.
I also heard that Stanton is not joking around today. He's like Simon Cowell. He just is harsh. To get a 3 even, you should feel like you're, a celebrity basically. So it's hard to impress him. I mean, I don't know if you've seen. He films at volcanoes.
High standards. So. Okay, you know what? I used to be known as the volcano guy. Now I'm more like Bear Boy. Everybody. I'm the Grizzly Boy. Grizzly Giles.
Dude,
Grizzly
Stanton's the Grizzly guy. John's the Guatemala guy. I can't wait until I get a name. The other thing. Yeah, okay, that works. The other thing I want to put out there is we are doing a giveaway. Blake, if you can drop that link in the chat on here, we are giving away one of these Atomos Shinobi on-camera monitors. We're going to be doing that later today. It's a little. I use it on my camera. Blake uses it on his. John has one. I don't know if he's using it or not, but he has one. And so we're going to give one of these away. And so fill out that little form on the link. We're going to do that at the end. You have to be present to win. So if you sign up, stick around.
Be present to get the present.
That be present to get the YouTube algorithm so happy if you're here the whole time, Nick.
It does. And another thing we want to do, if you're excited about this, if you want to see Stanton rip some films apart or whatever he's going to do, hit that thumbs up button.
Hit the thumbs up button.
What's that going to do? Smash that like button.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? We want you to smash that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're about ready to just jump in and start going. Are we ready, guys?
I'm ready. I feel
ready.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got my paper. Going to write down some notes. Let's go ahead and get started here. Blake,
what's this first one?
What is it? Claire and Alex and Joshua Tree. Been there last week.
Yes.
Been there, done that. You guys probably got T-shirts, right?
We actually did. Yes. Nick's wearing one. I think so.
No.
Nice. Me too.
Anyway. All right. Yep. Let's go.
It's a 2-minute film.
Through an endless sky, the heavens looking down upon you. Glory, we bask in the sun. How you've put your arms around me. I've been waiting my whole life for this. Weight of 1,000 songs in ways. Time has only just begun here. Gathered in song. Let them rise.
coffee dates to now traveling the country together. There's no one else I would want to accomplish these things with.
Okay. All right.
So was this a full film? Was this a teaser? What was this? Do we know?
It was
Do we have
just
any
what was
info on it?
submitted. I'm guessing this
Okay.
is more of a teaser
This-
kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like we did a mentor session with.
This is
and this was
Eli. Yes, we did a mentor session with him.
So I remember him saying that like it started raining in the middle of the day. They weren't able to do some stuff, so they were able to get like do another shoot with like the motorcycle and stuff. But this was the wedding film they delivered. They didn't promise audio or anything like that. So, yeah, I think that's what I know of it. So, as a reminder, we've got 5 different categories: cinematography, that's one word, audio, editing, story, and color. So we're going to each break down and we can debate a little bit if need be. Sometimes I coerce Nick to change his score. Nick never gets me to change my score.
Never.
And so let's start out with cinematography. We're talking about like the camera movements, the types of, the way that it is shot, the actual cinematography. Nick, out of a 5, what would you give this?
Okay, question, and we come to it every week. Are we doing 0.5s or not?
I think we do half points. We can do half points. That gives Stanton, he probably didn't know that. So if something is better than a 3, but not as good as a 4, we can go halfsies.
Yeah.
So.
I think for this one, I'm going to do a 2.5 on the cinematography.
Oh.
And the big thing for me with this one, there's a lot of drone shots where the camera's really nice. There's a lot of gimbal shots, but like that one that was on right there where they were moving, like there's movement that doesn't look intentional. It's like I started filming and then I moved the camera unintentionally or something. There are a lot of really, really nice shots, but there were just enough of those that were kind of mixed in there that just felt rushed, turn it on, or just how it was edited. So that's what I would say with that one.
Jeez, tough arm of the law. I gave this one a 3. I feel like this is definitely industry standard, if not better. Cinematography overall, yeah, there's some shakiness, there's some stuff, but get some aerial shots over a motorcycle, capture that doing well. We've got Joshua Tree. We know where we're at. Technique and stuff. There were some shots that were like blown out, overexposed, some stuff like that. But I'm giving this one a 3. I think this is good. There's room for improvement, but I think you did a really good job. Stanton, what are your thoughts? What stood out to you on the cinematography when it comes to this? Because you're like Stanton. Your film's by Stanton. You're a cinematography guy.
I was going to agree with Nick on this one. I was going to go 2.5 on it. And honestly, I was going to kind of say the same thing, that there were a lot of, like, the shot on screen is beautiful. There's some great composition shots, like the ceremony, the cactus that's about to show here in a second. Like, yeah, that. But then when it kind of comes to live event moments, like when I like to call myself a live event videographer, as a wedding videographer. As you can see, the camera's kind of bobbing up and down. It's a lot of what we do is predicting things and being prepared for that. And so, like Nick was saying, this kind of seems like unintentional or unnatural camera movements during the actual moments that are happening, which is really important for our job. And so I would say the other shots were a 3, maybe 3.5, like, some of the other shots that, were intentional, but not the shots that were of moments and things, if that makes sense. Like whenever you had a chance to take a little bit longer on a shot, it looked really beautiful. But whenever that moment's happening, like, this is good, but like inside and stuff, when it's kind of shaking and moving up and down and backwards and things like that, that's kind of what made me bump the score down a little bit lower. And because that contrast between the two is what is jarring for me. That it's not a cohesive cinematographic experience. Is that a word? Cinematographic?
It is now.
Cinematographers?
I think it's videographic.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I get what you guys are saying. I'm sticking with my 3 on this one. I feel like there were 3.5 kinds of shots, and then there were 2.5 kinds of shots. I feel like this is a 3 for me. So, okay, moving on. Audio. Obviously lacking. I think when we talked with, it was like that wasn't part of the thing, recording or using any audio, but film is like there's music, and then like halfway through, we hear some voices, like one thing or something like that. I don't think the couple wanted to be recorded, but really, it's to me, like audio is so important, especially a Joshua Tree. All this wind movement, all these rain, all these effects that you could bring in the trees. So there's a lot of room for improvement here for me. I'm gonna give this one a 2. Just a straight up 2. Music fit a vibe, which I thought was, and like it didn't, like it helped with the pacing and the shots and stuff like that. So audio, there was some spoken, like a little tiny bit, but man, there's a lot of room for getting those vowels, hearing the raindrops, hearing the motorcycle putt by when it's, adding in ambient noise, some kind of on-camera microphone. I probably gave everything you guys were going to say, but those are my thoughts when it comes to audio. Almost gave a 1.5 just because it was so basic, but I'm leaving it at a 2.
Yeah, I agree. And I know this one, like, even if they didn't want, or the package didn't include, some vowels or anything like that, like adding in, some sound effects, some ambient noises, on camera stuff, that would have really helped with that. So I agree. I'm doing a 2 on that, for me.
Yeah, same for me. The audio in the middle when there wasn't anything else was a little jarring for me. And then the wedding song, although fitting, I'm also going to be speaking from my perspective too. I take that back. I'm going to be more subjective with it, because obviously there are a lot more wedding styles out there. That's not how I'm going to approach this, but I do go with the 2 just because of like the way that the audio was inserted with the music, that like whenever it kind of crescendoed out, the audio was already starting and I couldn't pick up the very first part of what he was saying. So if you would have given it a half second longer and just let it breathe for a second before his audio came in, I would have understood what he was saying. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. When it comes to the editing, I mean, I thought that, for a short film, you did a good, fine job with it. I will say that I would have probably, I know that you did this day after session, like right up here on the mountain and the motorcycle, like all this stuff, like the day after the wedding. I probably would have like moved stuff around a little bit and had this stuff with them, on the campsite and in walking around and hiking and stuff. I probably would have moved that more towards a bit beginning, because that feels more like stuff that would happen before rather than after. And so I think some reordering of how you put all this stuff together would have been really helpful for me. Again, just like with the only dialogue you had, coming in at the very end and those kind of things, I think those editing choices were a little, those would help you. So I'm going to end up on a 2.5 with this one.
We're on editing right now, right?
Yeah, we're on editing.
Okay.
Stanton, why don't you go next? You've had to go last the last 2 times. Editing,
okay.
You're okay at editing. I mean, you do a good job.
I'm going to give this a 3. I would say this is industry standard. As far, I think that there's a lot of creative room for how you can piece a story together, as far as linear or what's the other term? Non-linear, I guess, discombobulated. But like, there's a lot of freedom with that. Like, to me, putting the motorcycle shots afterward also makes sense, because it's like, oh yeah, we're married, like motorcycle off into the sunset, I-40, like whatever, I don't know. But I think also I would have been a little more intentional with like the shots that I picked, like when they were like getting on the motorcycle, was kind of like wobbling to kind of like pick the spot where they weren't, and just kind of like, like a lot of times, I know you didn't use too much slow motion in this, but slow motion is a really good opportunity to make your film feel more intentional, because you can slow things down to 90%, 80%, 70% to fit a cut, so that shot makes sense and you don't have to have that wobble at the end. You can slow it down just a little bit to where it doesn't really look too slowed down. Anything, I think, above 75%, you can get away with it looking pretty close to real life movement, unless it's like something that's really fast moving, like somebody running and you slow down to 75%. But yeah, so I give it a 3. I'd say that's industry standard. Like it beats run cut, everything like that.
I don't have anything else to
I'm
add.
going to change mine to a 3.
Besides, I have mine as a 3. I think that like the edit itself, like you could have done, like I think that where I'm at with it is like there's so much more you could have done, but also knowing where you came from and how like you're early in your career of doing, like this, the edit is solid, but like it left me wanting more, just like with the order of the way things were, or like just kind of building, which moves us into like the story side of things, which is like the editing and story can really flow with each other. We're talking about story, it's just like, do we get to know the couple? Do we feel like there's like, does anything build here? Is the edit and the story go together, right? And so for me on this next category of story, it's like I know where we are, like I know that we're at a wedding, I know that it rained. Audio obviously plays a huge role in that story. The sound effects play a lot of role in that story and like infusing you into that story. And I leave the film not knowing really much of anything about their story. I get that it's a wedding story, but for me, I gave this one a 2. Like you told a story of the day, like we'd see that there's an elopement, that it rains, but like I really
would have story
loved...
next.
Yeah, that's the next one. Yeah, that's the one I'm moving on to. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were expounding upon editing. Okay, I was
No,
like,
no.
talking a
So
lot about
editing,
story
moving into story. Yeah,
Okay.
I did like a natural transition into the next one. It's part of like
Very
what
well
I try
done.
to.
You're a Houdini of
Totally,
words.
yeah, you've totally botched it for us. So this is great. Just kidding.
Let's just start over. Start the film.
Okay, let's start over. Can we start the film over? Yeah, no. So like story, you see them like doing their vows. You see them doing all this stuff. You see, it's like I want to hear it. I want to know why they picked Joshua Tree. I want to know why he has a motorcycle. I want to know what they're doing. Like I want to hear from those people that are there and like really hear and feel whatever this story is. It feels like a small elopement. And so story was lacking for me. I'm the story guy, so I'm giving this one a 2. Stanton, story. It's your turn.
Story.
Or Nick.
I'm gonna give story a 2. It's more of just kind of a music video. And I know, and again, this is I'm not here to like bash people's films, but like if we're gonna be like objective with that, like I think there's a lot of good things about this film, and a lot of times it almost would be helpful to have the person here to kind of explain what was going on, because like we are very limited by weather, by what the couple wants, by what the weather does to our couple's vows, or like a baby crying or things like that. And so I know a lot goes on. To be able to squeak out a film like this is impressive, in and of itself. But it's not really very story driven. It's just kind of like a cute little compilation video to me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I view it too.
Yep,
agreed.
I
All right, is somebody keeping track of these, by the way?
Yeah, I'm writing down your scores.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think it, just adding more of those stuff would have helped with that. Not that it's a bad, I'm sure the couple loved it, but I just think that we prefer having dialogue and speaking and knowing what's going on, and even better. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to color. As I watch this, there were a couple shots that maybe looked a little flat. Some of the drone shots could have been their color could have been enhanced a little bit more, but overall I'm giving this one a 3 for color. Very, very solid throughout. There wasn't a ton that I was like, ooh, like really go back and work on that. So for color, I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay. I'm there for that. I put this one at a 3.5. I think this was better than like your standard color. I feel like there were a couple shots that like the greens were a little bit too much or whatever. The sun changed. It just didn't, something just didn't flow right between shots. That's one thing I'm looking for, is just like, is it jarring, the color change? And if it is that on purpose? Like if it's jarring because, we're shooting at blue hour and then we're going back over to like daytime, and you're wanting to have that contrast, that's different. But what I'm looking for here is just like the colors are throughout very cohesive. There's a couple of shots that I feel like this is better than what you're usually going to get from like your standard wedding film. So I bumped this one up. My best score was for color on this one, 3.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3 on color. There's a part of me that wants to give him a 3.5 because I know that shooting in harsh light can be really hard to expose if you don't know what you're doing. So like that shows that they know what they're doing, and like with the drone shots I mean, those rocks are basically big mirrors out there when the sun's blasting on them. So to expose that properly, I think it's good. There are opportunities that even though it's cloudy or flat, you can add contrast into things like this by pulling down your shadows and bumping your whites or pulling the very top of your curve just like half a block or a quarter block over up and to the left, and that like really makes things pop if people are listening. Like that's a little secret, taking the curves and then taking it up and to the left, keeping it to the very top just a little bit, and that exponentially pops your color from your highlights down to your midtones to your shadows, exponentially decreasing in poppiness. But that was like these shots here where like there isn't a ton of contrast just inherently from what the scene was. You could have made it look a little bit more. And then you get into the whole thing of like, what's subjective versus objective. Do you want it to look exactly like what you saw with your eye, or do you kind of want to enhance it in the way that we do as creatives, photographers, videographers? So again, that comes down to subjectivity. So that's why I kind of landed down in the middle.
Okay. All right.
I love it. That means for me, I had a 3, a 2, a 3, a 2, and a 3.5, which my score would be a 13.5. So a couple areas to work on. Way better than I was at that phase of my business for sure. So good job.
All right.
A couple things to work on. What do you got, Nick?
Yeah. Both Stan and I ended at 12.5 for both of us. I did up my editing up to a 3. I said that I gave it a 2.5, but then hearing you guys talk a little bit, I upped that to a 3. So 12.5. So that's 25 total for me and Stanton, and you're 13.5. So that's 38.5.
Quick question in the chat there. Someone said, who is this film by? Katie with Vibe said,
this was Eli Contreras of Jana Contreras Photo and Video, their husband and wife team.
Okay. Cool,
down in California out there. So Eli Contreras.
Yeah.
I think he's in the chat as Fox something. Foxton videography.
Yeah. I did like the shots in the film, and to be able to land a gig out in this area speaks in and of itself, and it's going to do wonders for your business, I think. Obviously this is a film critique, and so yes. I talked about being like going hard and stuff like that, which I will be honest with people, but I will be honest and say it's a good little film. And, for a couple that aren't reviewing and film critiquing, they're going to love watching this and want to be in something just like that.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
Okay.
Quick thing before moving on to the next film. For those of you that don't know me, gosh, I love saying that. Just kidding. We got our friend Stanton from Films by Stanton on with us. There's some QR codes on the bottom of the screen to win an Atmos Shinobi monitor. Stanton has some freebies that he's given away. Super 8 overlay. It's on the screen. Like a lot of different things going on. We're in the middle of our mastermind launch. If you have questions about mastermind and want to apply, there's a QR code, or you can just DM us on Instagram. And the format here is we each have a rating scale, 1 to 5, 3 is factory standard. We have 5 different categories. We watch a film, then we critique it. If you like this format, do us a favor and hit that thumbs up button. How many times can we ask him to hit the thumbs up button? I don't even know what it does.
Until we get as many likes as there are people in here. And we're way short.
It's so fun to say. I don't know why I like it. It's so fun to say. I can't help it. Okay, sorry. Anything else you guys want to add before we move on?
No,
I'm good.
I don't think so. I
see. It's never mind. I'll keep that a surprise. Never mind. I just see something in the queue for wedding films.
So, our next film is from Sebastian, Little Island Stories. He said this just a short elopement film. So this is another about 2-minute one. So we're gonna.
Is this Sebastian that just joined our mastermind group?
Yeah, it is.
This is also Sebastian from he was at
Venture.
He was
at
Venture.
Up, Sebastian?
Sebastian's a cool dude. He had to leave like halfway through my presentation. I think he did it despite me.
Bye-bye, little Sebastian.
I can't remember if he had to leave before. I know.
Bye,
All right, Sebastian.
bye, little Sebastian. Sorry, I'm a moron. Okay,
Yep.
let's do this.
Nope. Okay.
We've learned that it's not a chain that holds two people together, but it's thousands of small bricks that lay a foundation. I love you so much, and my love for you grows stronger with every conversation, every kiss, every struggle.
When I thought about what I want to say, I don't feel like there's words to say for it. When I think about us, it feels like music. It feels like a song I never want to end.
I love you for the person that you are, and I love you for the person that I am when I'm with you.
Okay, couple short videos to start out today.
Yeah.
Just getting me excited. All right, great job,
Hey,
Sebastian.
Sebastian, can you drop in the chat? I think I saw you talking over here. Can you say whether this was like what this was? Like, was this a teaser? Was this a full film? What was the situation? Just as we're talking going forward, I kind of like a little context.
Yeah, it's probably a thing we should put on the submit form.
I think it is. I should
Oh,
probably
okay.
like write it down or something.
Nick and Blake
It's me.
really do all the work for this. I just show up and act like I know what I'm talking about. Let's see if he's saying anything. Little Island Stories dying. That's what he
Dying. They're dying. That's
Cool.
obvious. I mean, we're all dying.
Yeah.
I think he's
Technically,
got to take a second to
that's
see
sad.
it. I guess we could start if you want.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
John, why don't you get going?
Don't tell me what to do, but okay, I will.
Okay.
I really wanted him to respond.
He'll respond. We'll get there.
Okay, so the first category, cinematography. We're talking about technique, skill, the use of motion, framing, composition. Honestly, I feel like that he did a really solid job on this. I think it brought you in, like the little shakiness felt like adventurous. You're outside, you got all this movement going on. I'm going to give this one a 3.5.
Okay.
Nick?
Okay. I'm actually gonna give this one a 4. I like the handheld vibe, but it feels everything feels very intentional with this, and even the stuff that might not be composed, quote unquote, correctly or whatever when it comes to some of the shots. But I think it was all done very intentionally. Starting off with that opening shot that's kind of had that VHS overlay or VHS kind of feel to it. Kind of set the tone, and then just it felt like someone was there, like following them and documenting them with that handheld kind of style. So yeah, I really liked it. I get a 4.
Nice. I'm gonna give it a 3. There was a lot of shots like the opening. I was like, dang, I'm gonna give this like a really high score. Like I love how it's going right now. But that idea, that sentiment kind of dissipated a little bit whenever it went from this, which all looked really good and made sense to me. And like was well composed. That jump cut right there wasn't something I was a big fan of because it was so close to the same exact shot with that backlight. But then it kind of cuts here in a second, I believe. to like, yeah, he's kind of talking and the camera's shaking and he's, looking down in the middle of a rainforest getting ready. I know you did the best you could, Sebastian, but that was a little bit jarring. And to describe the jarring, I like the jarriness of like it being this kind of VHS, like Super 8, whatever you're going for in the beginning, and then like that big hit with that piano, and then it's that epic shot of them. That's cool jarring to me, but uh, being intentional with that and going back for the storytelling of him getting ready, the cinematography wasn't completely on par to me with like the previous part. So wanted to rate it more, but that kind of brought me back down to like industry standard.
Jerk. No, I agree. I agree with what Nick is saying. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, Stanton, which is why I picked the right score, which is 3.5. Right there, split the difference. No,
he's
really good job
telling us in the sorry, I keep interrupting you. I'm not meaning to. He's telling us in the chat kind of what happened. Looks like it was like his first elopement adventure thing. Didn't have a lot of budget, so I did a lot less than usual. We had about 30 minutes for getting ready, then hiked for a good 30 minutes to the spot.
Yeah. Love it. Thanks for clarification. Let's start with audio. Nick, why don't you start with audio?
So the fact that you had those vows right by the ocean and they sounded really, really clean. Obviously there was, ocean noise in the background and stuff because you were right by the ocean, but it didn't take away from what they were actually saying in the vows. So that audio cleanup was really, really nice. I probably would have liked to have maybe heard a little bit more sound effect kind of stuff, like more ambient on camera kind of noises and that kind of thing. But I'm giving this one a 3.5. Those voices were really clean, but like that other than the ocean waves, I would have liked to heard a little bit more. So that's where I'm gonna be as a 3.5.
Okay.
Who's next?
Okay. Stanton, why don't you go?
Next one up is which category?
Audio sound effects. Yeah.
I would say overall 3.5. Honestly, I think the way that he put it together, to me, the way you close and the way you open a film, the way you sandwich your film is the most important thing. And to open, I think I'm going to lump your music choice. I don't know if that's in the categories that we listed, like music choice, the way you use music. But I'm going to lump that into this, that like the music fit really well with the vibe. It had this epic piano kind of nature to it. I could tell you did fade out the gain on the track so that they could fit the vocals in. I would have gone a little higher because it did sound good. There were a couple times where the waves got a little too loud. Maybe could have done a little bit of audio finessing that would have been above what the average videographer in the industry would do. But it didn't seem like that happened too much. And so I would say it was above average though. So 3.5.
I think both you guys are wrong. I think this was definitely a 4. This is definitely above average, especially with all that wind coming through. I knew I was just going to hear so much noise. I know they had their backs to the water, but still, like, I think that mixed in with the song choice, on the editing, which is next, like there were some cuts where it like hit really hard and it was showing like a bouquet of flowers or something, like the music didn't really match some of the editing, which I'll get to in a minute. But overall, like, I could hear things clearly. I felt something because of the audio, the choice of the song. So I'm giving this one a 4. I think you did above, better than half a point above industry standard. All right. And you can fight me if you want. But no.
John, you go first on editing.
Okay. Yeah, this is my forte compared to the other two of you.
Throw it out.
I just don't like to go first if I want to give you guys a chance.
No, you want to end and say you guys are wrong.
I gave editing a 3.5. And I think he did a really good job, especially with that opener. It was really cool. Right, that like mixing the audio with the cuts and stuff, and like showing a story, kind of pushing towards the sunset and ending with the edit was way better than like a standard. The music cuts and everything with it, I felt like I got to see different angles. The the way it was put together, it didn't drag. It wasn't like a 6-minute film when it needed to be a 2-minute film. So yeah, overall technique, everything I felt like was very solid. I give it a 3.5. Stanton, what do you think?
I think you're wrong. Just kidding. I I'm gonna give it a 3. I would say it's industry standard. There's to me a jump cut is unnecessary, like, and I think it's very jarring. Jarring is something that I'm looking at a lot in films. Like, you want to keep your viewer's mind from being thrown into thinking of that, oh yeah, this was shot by somebody or somebody edited this. You don't want them to ask a question about that. You want them to be enthralled with what they're watching. And so a jump cut for me as a videographer is going to jar me in that way. I think there could have been more intentionality with the opening part, as far as like you were going for like a vintage look, but like if we're going to get technical, there's not an actual just like block like vintage format that ever was a thing. It just looked like you kind of cropped it in to be close to 4:3, which there conveniently is a Super 8 overlay and the QR code you could download, by the way. But I would have maybe added some grain, like maybe posterized the time down to 18 frames per second. Maybe you did. I can't tell what the frame rate on my screen. It's just a tiny bit laggy regardless. But maybe, putting the little vintage thing, if it was going to be VHS, putting like a date and time with that font down in the corner. If it was going to be Super 8, having the little film, whatever you call that square on the side, some kind of roll action, that could have been more intentional to me. And so that's kind of why I give it that average score.
Yeah.
Before we're moving on, Nick, on the comments, Chris asked jump cut, meaning that it jumps to another scene from the same point of view. Stanton, why don't you tell us what you're talking about with jump cutting?
Right. So like, let's just take this image of me, for example. That's basically right what he asked in there. That's correct. So it's like, if this was the scene here and you got like, this is the foreground of my desktop right here, and you're filming me from right there and I'm looking this way, and then the next cut was me right here for some reason. The composition, the framing, the angle of filming, the focal length are all very similar. And that's why a lot of people do jump cuts in ceremonies, which is one of my big gripes, because they kind of just float around the back on a wide angle. And it's just this like flip book of the back almost sometimes, when it's like, nah, get on an 85, get on a 135 and switch that up and like mitigate jump cuts, because it's not pleasing to watch. And you won't see that in movies very much at all.
Agreed.
Yeah. So that's what a jump cut is. Chris, yeah, ask that question. I've been kind of mulling over, as you guys have been talking, what I want to do this, and I've been, 3.5, 4 is kind of the range that I've been going on. I think I'm going to end up on this one on a 3.5.
Because you're right, and Stanton was wrong.
The couple of this shot right here that's on screen, this big rock right here.
Yeah,
it's pretty. It didn't make sense to me in that moment. If like we're showing all this couple stuff, it's kind of the build of the song, and then boom, a big hit hits, and we're seeing a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Now earlier in the film, I think that could work, kind of setting the scene, showing off, kind of what is going on. But right here in this moment, at kind of the climax of the film, that doesn't make sense to me. The other thing with the intro, I really like that, VHS Super 80, whatever that was, into that opening shot. I think my two things with those is they both, this is a 2-minute film, and it was like those two shots themselves were like 25 seconds for just, I don't know if but it felt a little bit longer for those two things. And I know that, you have this, VHS, like, again, with the editing, adding some sort of sound, adding some sort of something to that. And then two, I think, I don't know if Stanton, if you touched on this, I am all for using overlays and stuff like that in your films, if that's what you want to go. What I don't care for is when it feels random and not like that one. It was great to open the film, but there is nothing else like that in the rest of the film. And so to me, that makes it, while it looked cool and it was good, like it really stands out because it doesn't like come back in later, if that makes sense. And so, but all the other anything, I can tell you had a thought process going on. So I'm gonna with a 3.5 on this one. Man, talking a lot on this.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is the story. Stanton, you're up first this time.
I'm debating on this one. Given
Process out
given
loud
what
what you're,
he
yeah.
yeah, given what he said, which is, there's always a story behind these things. It's not like we're directors that walk out there with gaffers and all these things. You're very limited by time. He was talking about, he had 30 minutes to get ready, 30 minutes, be out on the beach, which means that a lot of what you're going to have is going to be portraits. I would have liked to have seen more getting ready, because getting ready is the biggest, to me. Getting ready and having vows are the biggest storytelling pieces, because vows are going to carry your film. It's kind of like this undertone of this what's moving, what's happening. It's explaining this love story, and then your getting ready stuff is building anticipation for the crescendo of what your music is going to provide, with the crescendo of the day, which is normally the first kiss during the ceremony. And so I felt like it was a lot of portraits, which would make me want to make it less of a score, which I like. I'm not, if you guys, even at Venture, I was talking about, like, I don't really like talking about portraits because I'm actually really basic. I'm like, I'll just feed off of whatever the couple's doing. With that said, I really like how you show them just like partying and having fun on the beach with the portraits too. So I think that's kind of cool. I think I will give you I'm gonna give you a 3.5. I'm gonna give you a 3.5. Let me give just a little bit better, given what you had to work with. I think you did. I think you did a good job.
Love it. Nick, do you want to go? Or you want me to go?
Hey, you can go on this one. You can
Okay.
go. I'll let you go.
All right. I agree a lot with like what Stanton is saying, just on the story elements and knowing the things that I like to come into it just very objectively and not knowing too much. If I'm just watching this and I'm looking at this story, I feel like it's pretty factory standard to me. Knowing what I know makes me want to bump my score up. I'm going to give this a 3. I think you did a good job with what you had. I do think that figuring out when you are limited, that's part of the creativity of like, how can I maybe tell this story? Is there something I could do afterwards to ask the couple to, infuse something where there's more story to it? I'm just the guy, my films, I want to like how did we get here today? Why are we getting married here? I don't know any of this stuff. I know that it's a beautiful location. So like, I'm left asking lots of questions. I love whenever I get done with a film and I'm like, holy moly, I feel like I am connected to their story too. And so I think there's room for improvement. I think it was solid, so I give it a 3.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna end up with a 3 as well. Just kind of going back and forth, listening to what you guys are saying. Really, really good with what you had. I know you did have a lot of time with it, but I think there might have been something more that could potentially be done. So we're going to jump into color here now. There's some really nice shots, but then some other shots that look a little muddy, the ones that are a little more backlit and stuff, which I know that coloring backlit stuff is really, it's not the easiest thing to do. But I'm going to end up on a 3. I think this is very, very standard and even above in some regards. But for the most part, because of some of those kind of shots, I'm going to end up with a 3 on this one.
Ditto. I'm in the same exact boat. No pun intended with the water right there. Anyway, I make myself giggle. I'm okay with it. This is my life now. But yeah, I would give it a 3. I think that there's a lot of really good stuff. I do think that there are some like orange and teals in this shot, and then the next one's like pulling a little bit more of so it inconsistent a little bit, but nothing to me that was just like woo. So I feel like it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Stanton.
Yeah. I was gonna go slightly above average, but I'm watching it again. I'm gonna do a 3 as well. I did think it had pretty consistent contrast ratios at first. The only thing that was throwing me off was the inconsistent white balance throughout it. And again, this comes down to whether you're going to do objective or subjective white balance, because like a lot of the bounce coming from the sky and the ocean is going to be that teal blue look. A lot of bounce coming from a sunset onto the sand is going to be very orange, like at the end. And so if that's what you're going for, that's awesome. from my eye, I do like to make color a little more consistent when it's going through, unless it's extremely obvious that it needs to be different. But I love the color in that shot right there. I love I guess I should probably be watching the zoom one. That might be a little bit off, but it was good. I wouldn't say it was bad. I wouldn't say it was exceptional. So yeah, I would land it on a 3.
Okay. All right. So to review our scores, I ended up with a 4, a 3.5, a 3.5, a 3, and a 3, which is a 17 overall. Stanton was a 3, 3.5, 3, 3.5, 3, which is a 16 overall. John, what did you end up with?
I ended up with a 16 overall as well.
Okay.
Good job. I see you in the comments. Like, again, our goal here is to like give you different angles to think about, to like just kind of process through different elements and say, oh, I could work on this, I could work on that. Somebody posted like, so what are the elements? In short, what elements consider high scoring? Just so as a reminder, a 3 is like you're doing great. This is like no improvement necessarily needed. A 4 is like, well, you took that category to the next level. You're doing things that other people aren't doing. And a 5 is like, wow, this is like should be setting the standard for the like for filmmakers in the industry. A 2 would be something like, okay, this is good, not great. It needs some work. Maybe in a 1 is like, this really needs some attention. So most films, I would say, in the industry would land straight 3s across the board. It's like they're doing good. And we're here to kind of help say, ooh, like this would take that up. This would make your story a little bit better. This would make your cinematography better. The color balance would be better if you did this, like things like that. So anyway. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Move on. Move on.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry.
Yeah. So that was a 49 overall. Remember, because we have a third person here, Blake, you just said something into my ear. What did you say? Oh, yeah. Just letting you guys know that because we have the third person in Stanton, a 57 is going to be an honorable mention, and a 68 score is going to be an official How to Film Weddings selection. John, this is a big week for us. It is Mastermind Application Week. Do you want to talk about that for 1 sec before we jump on to our next film?
Nah, they know about it. I'm just kidding. Of course. Yeah, it's the biggest week of the year for How to Film Weddings. We open the doors once a year this week of January. Going into our third year of Mastermind. It's a 12-month program. We meet every week on Zoom. We bring in guest speakers like Stanton, like Matt Johnson, like White and Reverie, like Larev Films, like Fiore Films, like Blink Films, like all of the people that have films in their name. I mean, it's crazy. But we can learn from the best. We can grow with each other. There's accountability. And then at the end of the year, we throw like an epic get together retreat party. I don't know if you saw us going hard on Instagram last week with all the fun we had in Palm Springs, but it really is a community. It's a community driven place. If you've been part of Mastermind and you're in the comments, let us know what you thought of Mastermind. If you have questions about it, I'm going to try to be reading, but Instagram is where to hit us up at How to Film Weddings. We can answer your questions. The doors close Monday to join. So make sure that if you have questions, if you're interested in joining, we've got some options that are affordable to be part of it. So check it out. Let us know. That's all I have at mmxhtfw.com, which I'm sure we'll post in the chat, a link in the chat.
Yeah. And I also, let me just say one thing. I have my own Facebook group. I posted about Mastermind the other day. I'm speaking in it. I also support it, but I'm very careful with like what I support in this industry. People talk in this industry as well. A lot of people have gone through Mastermind, and so people have talked about Mastermind, and I've never heard a negative thing about it. I mean, you're meeting once a week with a group of people, with John, with Nick, and then with one of those people, once a month, one of these industry leaders. And I can't figure out, like, as an educator myself, I can't figure out a better way of doing it than that. Like, you guys have found the thing. And so if you guys are on the fence, it's not about we're here because we find what we're doing in this industry fulfilling. Like, if you're on the fence about joining Mastermind, it's going to elevate your business radically. And that's what everybody says that does it. And if you guys have done it before and you're in chat, drop and say that you have. But like even the week that I was there, just seeing everybody like hanging out. By the time I was in there, it was November, and just seeing how everybody like knew each other, those inside jokes, like it was a cool community to see, and then to see you guys go to that retreat was awesome. So, yep, not getting paid to plug Mastermind.
Check is in the mail. Check is in the mail. No, it really is. Like Nick and I built it. Like we were like, what do we wish we would have had when we were, going through building our businesses? And people ask who it's for. We've had people that have just started. We've had people that are in their 15th year. If you're looking for community, if you're looking for connection, if you're looking for accountability, and to keep pushing forward every single week, like we obviously really believe in it. And we think the value is insane. This year we went from 12 guest speakers up to 26. So you're going to hear from 26 of the industry's finest. It's basically every other week you're getting to hear from people like Stanton, Jay and Mac. I mean, there's so many. Jake Weisler. I mean, the list just keeps going on. Peyton Frank. I mean, Justin Porter Media. I'm just saying, we even brought in Chapters, Nick. Chapters is going to speak. I'm so excited about
sick.
that. Anyway, if you have questions about that, please let us know. I see a lot of you, Jenna, in the comment Beach. I see you. All kinds of people. Adam Cheddar, what's up? We love you guys, and we think it's awesome. We're so cool. It's so cool. More and more people are joining every day, but Monday is applications doors closed. So if you have questions, I've been on, I think 11 or 12 Zoom calls today with people. Would love to answer your questions personally. So just reach out on Instagram and we'll set up a Zoom call and I can tell you whether or not I think you'd be a good fit, because not everybody is, but yeah. All right.
Okay.
Alaska.
All right.
Hannah and Justin.
Yeah. Now we're actually going to watch Angelica's film. She was a part of Mastermind last year. And this one, it looks like it's an Alaska destination wedding. So I'm sure the views aren't going to be pretty at all.
Frame is already like,
yeah.
And Angelica was so sweet. She's the nicest person.
Yeah. No, this looks great. This is incredible. We did an Alaskan cruise a few years ago. Alaska's awesome. I love it. You should go there.
Nick went to Alaska, everybody.
I did. Not Guatemala.
Oh, you're the Alaska guy now.
Alaska guy.
Cool. I didn't even film anything. I didn't even film anything. I just went there. Okay. Let's watch this awesome video by Angelica.
Let's go.
Wow, 11 years. Look where we finally made it, Alaska.
It wasn't a
memorable?
Yeah.
It wasn't memorable.
Oh,
it wasn't.
But not
it was
one that
memorable, but not one that you wanted to be like, hey.
Yeah, not one.
This is how we met. Like a drunken night, brought her home. Yeah. I know this letter isn't going to compare to your letter. Just know that I'm not as smart or good at expressing my feelings. So this is going to be difficult for me. I promise to hold you and try to heal all wounds that might open up. I promise to always support you when you have a difficult decision to make, and I promise to never give up on our family when hard times hit. I will do my best to always make you feel loved. Our life gets so busy at times, but I will try my best to never let it get far away.
Who would have ever thought one night of you bringing me home would lead to the rest of our lives? It's been a while.
I met him a few months before that, and I walked in the door, and he made a comment to me. I literally looked at him like, no, I'm done. And I turned around and I walked out the door, and I'm like, I hate that guy. I never want to see him ever again in my life. Like, if he's ever at a party again, I'm done. I'm gone. Don't ever expect me to stay in that house.
You will always be the first person I call with good news, because I know you will celebrate with me. Find the first person I call with bad news, because I know you can lift me up. Better than anyone, you are my person for all things in life. Thank you for being my calm. I promise I will always be yours, or your person. I will strive to keep you grounded. I hope to be the best version of myself for you and Casey. I love you so big. See you soon, Hannah.
I can honestly say that you're one of the most thoughtful people I have ever gotten the privilege to have in my life. You bring tears to my eyes with the sweet and thoughtful gestures. I don't always have the words to say for them, so I just hold you and I tell you that I love you.
Not just you, John.
I am very happy that our drunken nights led us together.
But I love you, and I want to be with you the rest of my life.
You're fine.
All right. Stanton,
Quick question.
I had both my AirPods in.
Oh, okay. So it
Something
wasn't
was
the
up.
panning.
No, I couldn't hear it.
Can we play the first 15 seconds one more time with the music? Just play it until I say stop. I just want to see one thing.
Wow, 11 years. Look where we finally made it, Alaska.
Okay, cool. That's all I want to see.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Great job on this film. Lots to dissect. But Angelica, like, especially the first part of this film, and we'll get into it, but the first part of this film had me like on the edge of my seat. It was really, really well done. The intro was dope. Like the fast cuts, the way you overlay the audio that Stanton was just listening for, into the scene where he was inside, like so many great things that you're doing on this film. For me, I feel like the second half of the film just went, it felt like the film's 7 minutes long. It should have been like 4.5 minutes long or something. Like you had to fill time. There were so many like gorgeous shots, so many different things. But overall, I think you did a really good job. Okay, I didn't mean to talk so much. Let's get into rating it. How dare I? Let's get into it, Nick.
Yeah. So on cinematography shots, as I'm watching this, I was like, there's something different about this film, but I can't like put my how it was filmed finger on it. And Becca Neblock I guarantee you that this filmmaker is a photographer.
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I read that, I was like, that's the thing. And Angelica, she's like, yeah, I do landscape stuff too. So like, I'm giving this one a 4 on the shot selection. A lot of the shots in here, they're creative, but they're composed very, very well. And so if you want to learn composition as a filmmaker, look at photographers and how they are posing and how they are putting people, subjects and stuff. That will help you a lot. So really, really good on the shot selection on that. So that's what I'm going with. Who's next?
John, you go next.
I agree with you, Nick. I think that the cinematography, I'm gonna talk color and stuff later. I feel like the shot selection, exactly. I was thinking the same thing when Becca wrote it. I was like, oh yeah, there's definitely some photography in the background here. There were some like incidental shakes that didn't feel like they were supposed to be there. Didn't feel some of the stuff like the letter reading. It felt like camera was moving when it. And then there were a couple of times like on the cinematography that it felt like I wish the shot was like pushed in more for like an emotional moment, or like when the bride was reading her letter, it's just like she gets starting to get emotional, and it's like I wish it was like zoomed in, or it was shot on a 70 to 200 or something, so we could have like pushed in on those moments. But overall, I mean, you've got Alaska as a background, so I try not to like judge based on just obviously like what we're seeing on screen. It's pretty hard to make that look bad, but I think you did a good job composing things. I think that it was really good. I gave it a 4.
I agree with a lot of what you guys said. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Biggest thing I noticed was that you're changing your focal lengths a lot, which is good. Like you're not just staying wide the whole time. You are shooting wide a lot, but that's not always bad. Like you are, like I noticed when I was watching the first look back a minute ago, I think you changed your position, which is going to avoid jump cuts, and your focal length at least twice. I think it was 3 times. And yeah, I would say it's above average. Like that shot, like I don't know if I can say that shot because I don't know if I'm saying it at the same time as what they're seeing on their screen, but
it like, will be the same time. It will end up syncing.
Okay, cool. I think I said that earlier because I was also watching on YouTube.
Yeah, what you're seeing on our Zoom, on our Zoom meeting, they will see in real time.
Okay, yeah, but there was like a shot with like the ceremony space, and there was some foreground with the grass in the front. I thought that looked great. And, you know, overall, I would say you're doing a good job with your composition, which is huge. I mean, like composition, the fundamentals are what are going to make your films better. It's not some secret sauce. It's exposure, composition, color, sound, music choice, like how you're putting your story together, just the fundamental things. And the composition goes a long way for this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed. Composition is beautiful in a lot of the shots. I almost gave this one 3.5 just because of some of those, like there was a speech and like the camera moved. It wasn't supposed to move. There's some of those things, but I just feel like this was above average. So I might be leaning towards more back down towards a 3.5.
Changing answers.
Well, okay. I'm copying off of your scorecard.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna keep mine at a 4. So yeah. John, you can talk about the audio. So
okay, so yeah.
She's in the chat and it sounds like I only have my right AirPod in, and she said some of the audio stuff was only going through the left channel, and so I've
got them both. That's why I kept like pushing, because it felt like, wait a sec, it felt like the channel was both set to left when it should have been set to right, or something was off on that. But like the audio to start the film, the audio on the jump cuts all being, it was so cool, it was so good. Like I'm sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, I'm giving this thing like 4.5 or more, or like on, and there was just that audio dive in the middle where it was like, what, like, wait a sec, it took me completely out of the film. I probably would have like steered away from having audio right there even, or something. Like I don't know exactly what's going on, but there was something that was like majorly wrong with that like was down to like, this is a 1, this is not, like this needs major help. So it's like we had this balance of like, oh, this audio is like next level, and this audio, no pun intended, next level. This audio over here was really needing work. So I ended up with a 2.5 on the audio. I feel like if those one areas weren't in there, I would have given this a 4. So I landed on 2.5 with audio.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, yeah, I would basically just, I don't need to say it all again, but it was, I think, even a little more jarring for me because of how good the audio sounded in the beginning. And then I think I don't know if something's messing up over me watching this or something, but I was like, I literally couldn't even hear the words. It just sounded like crackling to me.
Yeah, that's,
and so like that would make me want to do like a 1.5 because of like in putting unintelligible audio into a film. And again, I could be missing something, would be a big no. But because there was good audio in there too, that I think that at least saves it, for being able to be a 2.
Yeah.
So you're putting it at a 2, Stanton?
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
Becca is saying a couple things in the comments, which I think you've recorded the good audio. I just think that you've panned it incorrectly. And so depending on what you're on, you might have to set both channels to the left instead of to the right or something. Sounds like you've put into the film the crackly, like kind of can hear it audio. And so
maybe I'm sorry. Can Blake, can you send me the link to this, or drop the link to this film? I'm just gonna watch it on my monitor just to see if it sounds different, because I would hate to, give a score that didn't, actually make sense for what it was.
Did everybody else in our group here, Blake, Nick, did yours do the same thing?
I couldn't even
somebody
hear
in the chat said that,
but
it was,
Juan,
okay.
I think in the chat said he definitely heard the audio. It was just on one side. So
interesting.
Anyway, I think, yeah, in how it is. I mean, it wasn't abrupt, like, oh, like what's going on here. Like I didn't know if it was maybe a mistake or I don't know what's going on. Like the intro and how it, I'm a big fan of starting off a film with epic shots that have just some ambient noise or some, like, it really kind of pulls you in, and that's how you started. And then that speed ramp cut thing, and then their interview there in front of the fire where you could hear the crackling, but it sounded so good. And so that if it would have been that way throughout, it probably would have been, up into like that 4 range. But I don't know, I feel, as it is how I heard it, I would probably land in that 2.5 range, just because of the stark contrast of how great and then how it just fell off the other side of things.
Yeah.
If I, go back and listen to it in a different way, maybe that would be different, but I'll end up on a 2.5 on this one. Go.
And I'm going to change mine to that as well, because it sounds like people heard the audio fine. But the fact that it was panned was kind of panned incorrectly is a not as industry standard thing to do. So that's why I'm still docking. It was still jarring regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many
All right.
good shots, such a good film. Like, I mean, this is really good stuff. Okay, moving on to editing. Nick, why don't you start this one?
This I really like this style of edit. This is something I think that I personally am starting to do a lot more of, where I'm getting out of doing a whole lot of, quick editing kind of cuts and getting into like the more long drawn out multi-day kind of stuff. So this one really resonates with me. I can I'm going to hold on. John, can you take over for a second? Something just came up. Hang on.
Sure. Yeah.
Can you take over? Thanks.
I can always take over. I'm all for it. As Nick's like,
John's all
here.
for the
I'm
takeover.
trying to. No. So on the editing for me, I feel like you brought me in so quick with this edit. The music, the feel, the audio, the everything brought me in so well. Like I was in it. I was like excited on the edge of my seat. I feel like somewhere midway through the film, you had to like do some filler to like show like individual shots of like portraits with the family. It just like slowed way down and I kind of lost my attention. And then it went back up when the story started coming back. It just felt like it went, and I think some of that audio had to do with it. But like your intro with all the cuts, all this, the way you layered everything, the way the edit was, in my opinion, above average for sure. I gave it a 4. So, Nick, are you back? Nope, he's not back. Stanton, do you want to go?
Yeah. I am gonna admit I'm gonna be a little bit harder on this because I have a couple notes. I think it's a great film, and again, the same note as the Joshua Tree wedding. Like the fact that you got this here, this is gonna do like wonders for your business and stuff. So please take the feedback that I'm about to give you as like positive, like criticism. I'm not wrecking you for any reason other than trying to help. And this is also my opinion, but with the opening, I would have structured it a lot differently. My take was a little bit different, or a lot different than John's. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I would have had it be black. I would have had his words in a J cut come in of what he was saying about Alaska, show him, reveal him on the screen talking, and then as he says the word Alaska, switch to that sweeping drone shot, and then let the music start there. Let wind be underneath that, and let it be kind of. And then like bam, like do like a riser, or maybe not a riser, but maybe just some kind of like subtle like kind of sound, and let those sweeping landscapes like take the attention now instead of just words. Like the words are heard, the audio's crisp, it's clear, but when he says Alaska, let it change to those sweeping shots. That's how I would have structured it a little bit differently.
That's why he's filmed by Stanton.
Secondly, and this is a preference thing, but if you go and watch like movies in Hollywood or something, and somebody is reading a letter, they aren't reading out loud the letter that they are getting. It is the person's audio overlaid, almost like it's like a voice, like a little like speech bubble above them or something. It's the person that the letter is coming from. And so I say that because like I think I would love for the industry to move away from having the person that's receiving the letter read the letter. Because, and I always like to give this example, this doesn't happen all the time, but I could almost tell by what she was saying that he wrote it. And at some point you're going to get, if you keep adopting this strategy, at some point you're going to get somebody that's going to come along and you're going to have this big burly dude reading this letter. And it says, I've been dreaming of this day ever since I was a 6-year-old girl. And that's just not going to make sense. And there's like a lot of things like whenever he said, from the moment you dropped me off at home for the first time. And again, I'm not trying to get into gender stereotypes or anything, but I knew there was some indicators that he was reading her letter and vice versa. And so what I always do with my couples is I get the shot of them crying, reading their letter, their reaction, their laughs, their wiping away the tear, whatever it is. I get the other person to read it into one of my my Sennheiser mic with the DR10X attached to the bottom. I frame that out. I get a tight shot of their face reading it because it's about their face. It's about the emotion of the moment. And then I overlay that audio from it with her reading the letter. I have him reading out loud, and then I take that audio and I put it with her looking down at the paper, reading what he wrote. And I think that makes a lot more sense whenever especially whenever it cuts to the scene of them sitting by the fire and they're speaking from their perspective again. Because when they're talking at the other spots, they're talking from the other person's perspective. So that's a little jarring to me. I'm using the word jarring a lot, but that is something that's going to throw off a critique for me. Also, last note on this, I would have shortened the film a ton. I think this could have been about 4.5, 5 minutes at most. I would say that there felt like there was almost 3 cycles that went through of like fireside shots, people standing underneath the arbor shots, and ceremony shots. And I don't know if I already said the fireplace shots, but like this cycle or them sitting in front of the window reading letters. It was like kind of a cycled through it. And then it wasn't like a non-linear approach. It just felt like it was cycling through to hit a certain length. And so unless you were contractually obligated, I would have shortened it a little bit. And so I think
that's what it felt
like.
Yeah,
I got a little long-winded there, but that's how I feel. Hopefully that's helpful with like future films and stuff. The openers are so important, and I am really nitpicky about those. People know my Patreon now.
I want to chime in before Nick
What
goes.
was your score, Stan?
Yeah, what'd you give it?
What
2. Was your score? Okay, so the edit was a 2 from you. So here's where I'm at, is like when I think of a standard just like editing technique, putting it together, telling a cohesive story, that's like standard. Extra things like being able to do cool effects that make sense, to have like J cuts correctly, to have audio come in correctly, to have like this whole like mastering with the songs and the edit itself all coming together. Anything better than that to me is deserving of over a 3. So I would challenge you that it's at least a 3 on this edit. And I personally, I get it when it's like, you don't want a big burly dude reading whatever, but I'm the guy that just loves getting that real raw emotion. And sometimes you just can't get that unless they're reading the letter out loud themselves from that person. So like, again, I think cinematically it makes more sense to have like him read his own letter, her read her own letter. But I don't get as many tears whenever they're just reading it internally, and I like drawing the emotion out. So just throwing that out there. Not saying that I know I'm wrong, but I also know that I like that. I like that. And I know that rule, but for me and for what I want to do, it's like I would rather him be able to feel that, read that moment, like have that moment where he's reading it out loud and it's like it all hits him. But
I still disagree with that, because like to me, when I hear him reading it, like whenever, even in that thing, we're way better at reading our own handwriting and saying it out loud. When you're reading somebody else's, it's like there was moments where he was like, and the time that we went, like he's deciphering as he goes. And so that's off-putting to me personally. But you know what? Handshake across the internet, because
it makes sense. Like I'm sitting, like you're much more successful as a videographer. It makes sense, right? I mean, and I think that's what's fun about this is like, oh, that makes sense. That's a good process and stuff. I just think that, like know the rules, know how you want to break them, right? I mean, and that's like, oh, well, not that that's even a rule, but yeah, it is weird when there's this big burly dude saying I've been dreaming of this since I was a little girl. Like I don't include that in the film, but like I wait for those moments where like he's getting to hear whatever and boom, it just breaks him down or whatever. Like anyway, but I get it. I understand that. I think a 2 is a little harsh for this edit. I do think it got like boring in the second third of the film, and then like kind of felt like, man, there should have been 5 minutes and it was 8 minutes or whatever. So I think that contractually probably was obligated to have to go longer on the film. Nick, I'm sorry, continue.
All right, you know what? Here, if she says she was contractually obligated to go longer, I will bump it to a 3. But if you have to be honest, Angelica, or you contractually obligated to be that long.
I mean, I heard him say 3, so I wrote it because I think that this is definitely industry standard, if not above. So that's,
All right, I'm bringing mine down to a 3.5.
Yes, 6 to 7 is what she said. 6 to 7.
I'm bringing mine down to a 3.5. I think you guys are making good points.
hopefully what I'm saying, Angelica, is making sense and that you're seeing the good intent behind what I'm saying. I'm not trying to lambast you.
Yes.
Yeah.
The advice that you gave is incredible.
I'm talking to
and
Angelica.
It's
so good.
Good. But I'm just saying, like, I agree with the things that you are saying. Like those tweaks would have made an already great film even better, and cutting it down, like this was one that definitely dragged a little bit because of all those things. I don't think I gave a score. I'm going to end up with a 3.5 on this one. Sorry, my daughter came in whenever, and that's why I had to turn things over. When it comes to story, I like the extra stuff that is included in like sitting down and having that campfire kind of discussion and how they could share some things about themselves, and this drunken night where they came together and how she didn't like him and stuff. It just adds a lot to the overall feel of the couple. Getting to know them a little bit. He said in the thing, here we are in Alaska. I would have liked to have heard, a little bit more why they were there and what made them choose that place and, that kind of stuff. But this was definitely above. I'm going to give this one a 4 from me on the story.
You don't hand out 4s before Stanton goes. It'll make you look like a fool.
Oh, I can't wait. I want him to make me look like a fool.
No.
But,
I'm gonna go.
Look at these people razzing me in the chat too. John's wrong. Pick Stanton. Okay, guys, I get it. Okay, I've been here for you for 5 years now. He's been here for 10 minutes. Okay.
I'm
kidding. I'm kidding.
I will give this. Okay, so the criteria for story. Wait, what are we on?
Story.
Okay, just making sure. I got so caught up in things. The criteria for story were emotion, storytelling, captivating, and depth. Now, the last two, the captivating and depth, I didn't feel as much. It makes me want to make it lower. But the fact that you filmed stuff other than the wedding day, like you went and you had these people next to a fire and you mic'd them up, like that's literally called a storytelling session almost. And so I'm going to give you above average 3.5 on this. That I think you did go above and beyond with that. But I think it could have been a shorter story too. But I'm gonna, you were obligated to. There have been times, guys, where I've text my brides and said, "Hey, like I know I'm supposed to give you a 7-minute film, but
yes,
do you trust me by like making a shorter film for you, because I really think it's going to hit harder and better. Like yes. I don't just want like they have a wedding gallery of 300 pictures, 1,000 pictures of them swirling around and in the mountains. Like they don't need their video full of this like model shoot, you know what I mean? Because we're making them a story and I want that to hit hard. And so sometimes I'll even come back and just ask like, hey, can I make this shorter? Not because I am rushing through this. I just think it's going to be better. And sometimes they're like, oh my God, we trust you. Like that sounds great.
I love that advice. And Buddy G, you're dead to me. Don't try to love me in the comments.
Buddy G, you know what?
Buddy G, you should, go get in Stanton's Facebook group, okay?
I think he needs a free Wonderlet at this point.
Buddy G, send Stanton an email for a free Wonderlet.
Yep. Hit me up. Hello at filmsbystanton.com. Anybody that joins my side is promoted with free digital assets.
That's good. Free stuff that doesn't cost you anything at this point. I love it. Okay, so story for me, I'm a mixture of both of what you guys are saying. I love feeling like I get to know the couple, and I feel like you did a really good job with story, like with their child, like introducing him when they were talking about him, layering things and talking about why. Like, I think that you did a really good job with the story. Again, I know you were contractually obligated to go longer, and this brought it down from a 4 to a 3.5 for me because the story was so good. And then it just dropped. Like it just went because it felt like, oh, we got to fill in the middle of this film to make it longer. And then boom, we're back with the story and I'm captivated again. And I think that's probably why too, on like the editing for me, I was like, part of that editing story, it's always bleeding over for me of like, is the edit bringing me in or is the story bringing me in? And like, so to me, the story doing that extra session just made me, it hit home where it was like, I could feel for this groom. Like you could tell that he was like doing everything he could to hold everything together, but he was also saying that he's not like the best at expressing his emotions and all these things. And like, I think you did a really good job on telling that story. It would have been a solid 4 if this film was shorter. And I love Stanton's advice on the, do you trust me text? Because you can always say, I'll also put together something a little long, like 2 minutes longer, that if you wanted me to, but like as I'm putting this together, it's just hitting better at 5 minutes instead of 7. Or I'll throw in something like, I don't want your film to suffer. And if you've built that trust with them, they will be like, absolutely, we trust like that this is going to hit better. So I give it a 3.5.
Okay.
If you notice with your films, guys, that like when you're making a song and you're either having the one rush through it to try squeezing everything between getting ready and ceremony in, that's a sign that you're making it too short. That you need to extend certain parts of that song before the crescendo, or you need to add another song at the end. On the other side, if you feel like your song, if you feel like it's in the other chord, how do I explain this? I feel like I just kind of lost my train of thought with where I was going with that. But like, you can use your music to gauge how long, like, you know, you use your clips and your music to gauge how long that your film needs to actually be. And if you feel like you're stretching it to fit a song, that means that you probably need to cut the song down to make your film shorter. Whenever you start inserting drone shots and portraits and then cycling back to other things, that should be an indicator to yourself, hey, I'm just filling. I'm just adding filler stuff here that's going to make people think that this film's dragging on too long.
Before we moving on, our friend Radioactive Kangaroo in the comments said, what can she do with what you saw to make it more acceptable for a longer edit? So if she was contractually obligated, Stanton, what would you say? Like if you were trying to lengthen that out, is there anything that you feel like would be?
If I was trying to do what? To lengthen it out,
like lengthen the film instead of just asking to shorten it. Like what's acceptable to make it a longer edit? Like what would have made this a 7-minute and captivating for the whole 7 minutes?
Totally. A little trick that I use. Go for it.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, I think in that case, if you want to make a film a little bit longer and it's lyric music, like if there would have been some lyrics in some of that stuff, like that's helped me before, where now I can take 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and put in stuff and then just make sure I'm blaring in that natural on-camera audio. But now it kind of keeps the flow of the video going because there's some lyrics and stuff going on. Sorry, I know you asked Stanton, he's the one that you paid to bring in here, but
yeah, right. I wish.
No payment.
I would, like I said earlier, your vows, or the audio that you capture from letters or vows is, I believe, I mean, as wedding videographers, we're limited. We have a very finite story. It's not as crazy dynamic as we would like for it to be. Sometimes there's cool things that happen, like, a bride gives a groom the color seeing glasses because he was colorblind, and that thing's cool, and that's a cool moment. But something that I do to extend films out to either fit songs or hit a contractual length is, and it goes back to the day of shooting, and that's shooting the person reading their letter. A lot of times I'm only going to use the audio from that, and it's a tight shot. So when they're holding a mic, like down here, I'm only shooting them from here up, and it's just their head, which I think conveys a lot more emotion than this full wide shot that a lot of people do. So I shoot the whole thing. I don't move my camera. I just get my composition right. I shoot the whole letter. That's a good fallback. That's a really good fallback to them talking. That gives context, for that you can fall back to them talking. What I use more than that, though, is I get a good tight shot with an 85 or 135 of the person reading their vows. Is like almost a non-negotiable. I'm like, you have to say vows or write a letter. But most of the time these days, people are writing private vows. At least my couples are. So I just hold that shot as steady as I can, handheld. If a fly lands on me, I just try to cry through it and not itch, because I don't want to shake, because I know it's going to happen whenever they say something really emotional. The only time I will move is whenever they say something funny, because I don't like adding a lot of the I promise to always be there for you unless you're taking the trash out at midnight. I'm never going to put that in one of my films. So that's when I'll shake or something. And so, yeah, but and so that's a really good opportunity to cut to what they're saying. Because that's real story there. And this is going to be so cool for them to cut back on the shot of them being young and in the best day of their life. This really tight shot of from here up of them conveying their love to this other person, and the most important day of their life. And so that's a really safe thing to jump to. Jumping to portraits is boring, and that's why I don't emphasize. If I ever do a workshop, I'm not going to emphasize portraits. I'm going to be talking about editing and the getting ready and the how that all goes together. You're not going to see me going out to a mountain range to just shoot a ton of stuff, and not to knock people that have done that or anything. But like, it's just, I'm so big on what else is carrying the story. And that's what a lot of times films get boring to me whenever that happens. So, sorry, my dog just barking at her. I'm going to go get my dog real quick.
Do it. I can't add to that. That's great information. And that, I do think that's a lot why you think about something like how Stanton's films are put together and how it's like rewatch some of his work and be like, oh, that makes sense, that, you don't have to include all the, the trash being taken out, whatever stuff he was saying, that we feel like we have to and stuff, and be more stingy with what you're putting in there to tell that story the way you want to tell it. All right. Last category real quickly, all quick, like color. Nick, do you want to start this one, or do you remember the film at this point? It's been so long. Blake, are you able to put that back on screen for a sec, or is it too late? It's okay. I wrote down 3. It was standard. Nothing like stood out in my opinion of just like needs major improvement, needs like the fact that I'm not like remembering a ton about it makes me feel like it's pretty standard. Not that that's good or bad, but
yeah, I was gonna end up on a 3 with this one. There were nothing stood out to me as like, ooh, that shouldn't be here, but also nothing stood out to me as like, whoa, like, I think very, very, very solid. Good job with that.
What
and
they
you guys
said,
do
I'm
reviews.
I'm a 3 as well on this. It was good. It wasn't above average to me, and it wasn't bad by any means. So
yeah. All right. I'm adding up my score. I have a 16 for this one, above standard for sure. Great job. We spent a lot of time on this one. We're going to do one more film, and then we're going to, if you didn't know, we're giving away an Atomos Shinobi monitor to somebody that's live today. You can't be like, was it Mike that was cleaning one time that left on us, and he was cleaning and all of a sudden he didn't win? Who here could use a nice new monitor for their 2023 season? Let me know in the comments. And if you want an extra vote, you hit the thumbs up button and we'll put an extra vote in. Stanton will do an extra vote for you.
John, what was your score?
16. Sorry. Continue.
It's okay.
What was mine? I'm glad I have a score.
You were a 15 overall. Okay. I was 17. So it's a 48 overall. Anyway, Angelica, good job on that one. Really, really solid, and some great stuff. I think you get that audio thing figured out, and then that just makes you even higher. But also, you got a little, class from Stanton, which he'll be bringing the fire like that whenever he speaks in Mastermind.
Somebody said, if this is what Mastermind is like, I'm in. And I just want to say this: if you were in Mastermind, you tell me, is this what Mastermind was like? I'm just saying, Stanton, you're bringing the fire. I appreciate you spending your time doing this. If you're not, you should download that free Super 8 overlay, join his Facebook group, and yeah, he's going to be bringing the fire just like this, and 25 other speakers throughout the year. Plus, Nick and I have 20 sessions where we break down all the things. It's unreal. You're going to grow a ton. It's just worth it. Bout on Film was there. He said times 100 billion. Angelica said, yes, go sign up now. Mastermind's amazing. Buddy G says, I'm poor. We can help you with that. Send us a message. It's one of those things though, right? It's like this whole chicken or the egg. It's like, you need this information so you can have the money, and you need the money so you can have this information. And so like, we're doing our best. We've got some plans put together to kind of spread out some payments potentially. So apply. If you're on the fence, just apply. We will chat with you. We're not going to salesman you or used car salesman you. We're fine.
John was actually on a chat with someone today, and they were asking us some questions or whatever, and he was like he was honest. He was like, you know what, I'm not sure, like I think you'll get some, but you might not get some. Like, again, like with anything that we do, we're going to be honest with how we communicate it with you. And so if we think that this isn't the right thing for you, we're going to let you know that. We're not just trying to say, hey, do this so that, you can pay us money. Like we really want to help you, and we're honest with that. So
real fast, Joaquin said, what's the ballpark total? We have it broken up. We can do up to 18 months of payments now. We're trying to help people out, but a couple $100 a month. We got it down to like $200 to 400-ish, somewhere in there per month, about the price of one wedding film. So it's crazy. So we want to make it affordable enough, like to pay all the guest speakers, to do our retreat, to do all the things, but we've got some options in there. The average person's going to spend around $4,000, $4,500 to be part of it for the year. That does, for the most part, include the retreat ticket. We have one option that doesn't. There's a lot of different moving parts, but we are trying to make it. We know what the economy is doing. We know you need this information. Like just sitting here with Stanton for this hour or whatever, it's like, this is game changer stuff for your films, right? And just imagine continually getting hit with that. All right, I could talk all day long about Mastermind because I'm passionate about it, but I'm going to stop because we have another film to get to.
We do. We've been going for a while. We got more. You guys have one more in you? I mean, we've been chatting a lot. You guys,
Stanton, you got one more in you, or you need to go?
I'm here for it.
Okay. So we're going to make this one our last one, and then we're going to do our giveaway. So Blake, if you could drop the link in the chat for the giveaway. Remember, you have to be present to win this little Atomos Shinobi monitor for your camera. You have to be present to win. So we're going to do that right after we watch this film. And this is from Derek, who actually also just signed up for Mastermind a couple days ago. So let's watch it. I'm excited to see what you got.
Oh, yeah.
Dad. Thank you, Dad.
You're on a big day.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Good luck.
Let me hug you. Love you. I got makeup on your face.
It's okay.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.
Look at him go, Alpha.
I smell really sour.
I started to wonder something I can't deny, in a moment unfolding before my very eyes.
Like, tell me how two people find each other from a world full of strangers, right? You gotta believe that it's magic when two people fall in love.
So I'm so happy that now my ate has found her own happiness and put her own happiness first with a kuya, who's a big brother who does the exact same thing, honestly, for me and Auntie. now having to get to know Gino and seeing that person like for the first time in a long time, seeing someone that actually now took care of Kat was such a relief off of our shoulders, because I've seen Kat change to be a person that actually lets someone take care of her. And it's such a good feeling to know that she's taken care of for the rest of her life.
This could happen. Oh, grace would be enough.
Everyone is here to celebrate their love and see this people, Kat, like, and Gino, like, these are the people that are a testament to your love, you know, like, they know they're here for you, they're here to, like, celebrate you guys.
This is more than imagine. This is more than ordinary. Didn't realize this could happen. Oh, the grace would be enough. This is more than imagine. This is more than ordinary. Didn't realize this could happen. Oh, the grace would be enough.
One of the reasons why I fell in love with you is because you were so understanding. You accepted me for who I was, and to be honest, you made me a better man. I promise to love you, to be by your side forever.
Well, there's many reasons why I fell in love with you, but the main thing is how you always put me first. And today I promise to always try my best to be the woman that you deserve. I love you.
All right, all right, all right.
From what I was seeing in the comments, that was a first film.
That was his first film.
That's nowhere near as good as my first film. Mine was so much better. Just kidding. No, this was, I'm pretty shocked. I also feel like having chapters on your side for your first film, it's kind of unfair. Yeah. It really isn't. Speaking of chapters, they're one of our guest speakers for our mastermind. I'm just saying. Like, I'm friends with these guys. I'm friendly anyway. I call myself a friend. Text them back and forth. They ask me questions about music and what they should create. It's kind of this weird bubble that I get to live in. And ask them if they would be interested in coming on and talking about music and how they build songs and like just chat with the community. So that's like a fun little bonus session. Okay, on to this film. Nick, what are your initial thoughts? Stanton, what are you guys thinking when you watch this?
It feels like a good first film. As far as like how I'm going to score it, like I am going to stay objective. Like I am not going to like, I guess, take pity on the fact that it was a first film. I will like, gauge it to an industry standard. But I mean, for a first film, although like the moment playing right now where this camera angle is really, really shaky and it's kind of a jarring, the word of the day for me, to watch like right there. At least you're capturing the moment. At least it's not crazy overexposed. You let the moment hang there for a minute. I even like that where she's like wiping the makeup off there. Like those little things are cool. And like that, like the shots, kind of going back to the first one, the Joshua Tree, like, the intentional shots where you have the time to film are really good. But when the moments are happening is when I see it kind of fall apart a bit, which is fine because it's your first film and your first wedding film, and you're going to learn a lot about predicting things, movements, and all that kind of stuff. So that was my kind of just opening thoughts. for a
Is this
first film.
person
It's a
in
good look.
ours? Is this person joining our mastermind? Did
Yeah,
somebody say?
they signed up. They signed up this week. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, Becca. Oh, Becca. Becca, our cheerleader. Man, we need to pay you, Becca. She said if this was your first film, you should be joining Mastermind and charging $5,000 by the end of the year. That's probably accurate. Nick, what are your thoughts?
$5,000.
Yeah. Stan, did you do a score, or are you going to talk about
No,
that?
he just was given some opening.
That was my general. Yeah.
Okay. With it being your first film, obviously you're learning stuff. You know, how you're going to film, and you know, just the types of shots that you use, and that sort of stuff. I'm probably going to end up on a 2.5 for this one. Is where I'm going to say to like give it a score. There are so many, like your opening sequence that you had with kind of the rain and all that kind of stuff was really, really solid, and a lot of little shots that you had in here. But again, lots of camera movements, lots of stuff where kind of like, oh, what's going on here? Okay, I got to find it. Some of the composition stuff can be worked on, but I mean, I would be thrilled if this were my first film that I had. I know we're probably going to say that over and over again. Definite room to improve, but I can like already see with some of the stuff that you've got put in here and how you're doing it, just like get some repetition under your belt and get some weddings under your belt, and going to be so good. But I'm gonna give it a 2.5 if 3 is the industry standard right now
on cinematography.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna ditto what you say. Not to overdo it. First film cinematography. I mean, my first film was like a -5 if there was a scale. So 2.5 for me on cinematography. Stanton.
Yeah, and I'm gonna agree with you guys on that too. This venue, to me, is like one of those Wedgwood like venues that's not the most aesthetic to have as a backdrop. And so again, we're live event videographers. I'm trying to look at the composition and not worry about what's behind. But yeah, there were shaky camera movements. For a first film, it's really good. But even like stuff like that right there, that's on screen, fading to black, and then going into a new scene. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's still below the industry standard, but dude, give it a couple more films, join Mastermind, learn for a year. Holy crap! Like you're gonna be a legend. So I'm gonna go give my dog antidepressants real quick. So I'll be right back.
Makes sense. Typical Thursday. Moving on to audio. Oh, well, I was gonna start that. Let me cough though.
Yeah.
Audio, same thing. I think I'm gonna feel the same way about most of this film. And it's kind of how I scored, just kind of across the board. But audio, you just plugging into the board correctly for the speeches. You had audio, it was on camera or something. You included audio, different things like that, which was great. Much room for improvement, but also so good for starting out in this industry. Repetition is going to be your friend, dialing those things in. And then my piece of advice is just like, you're doing so good for what what this is, and like just keep taking steps. Like you're gonna keep, you have so many things that are just gonna, like, you're gonna look back and be like, oh my goodness, I've grown so much in the last year. But you should be proud of this film. So 2.5 for me on audio.
Yeah. I think I'm going to land on a 2.5. I kind of thought about maybe going it up to a 3. Like the vows that they had at the end there sounded really nice. But again, a lot of the toast stuff, I don't know if it was just on camera audio, if maybe it was one of those little recorders, the Sony, whatever it is that was on the mic, and it just captured a lot of, reverb and that sort of stuff. But really, really good. I think back to my first film that I included audio in, and it sounded half as good as that. So anyway, I'm going to go with the 2.5. Stanton is still messing with his dog. So
I can talk though. I'm just,
okay.
He doesn't want to eat this pill. It's just to calm him down when we go to the vet. I'm taking him to the vet. Prescribed antidepressants here for my dog. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2.5 on audio. I agree with what you guys said. There was room for improvement. There was some audio work that could have been done that would have been pretty easy to do to enhance that.
Yeah.
One more second, I'll be completely.
You started talking to your dog, so I had to grab my dog and give him some love.
Yeah.
He doesn't need antidepressants though, do you, Boston? No, you don't. You good boy. Okay, sorry.
For editing, I'm going to end up on the same thing. A couple of things like that. I think the opening sequence, like whenever I started watching this and I saw some of those things coming in, I was like, oh, like this is a much higher score than what the rest of the film, like if it would have kept with that level. A few things that I just aren't my personal thing, like putting the date, how that came on, date is not something that I usually include, but just how they slid on and slid off felt very template-y for me. And so that, and then the more that you do this, one thing that I will challenge you to do, Derek, is just because you film it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to include it. One of the things I'm specifically talking about is like all of the people coming in, the couples being in the entrance into the reception area. Again, just because you film it doesn't mean you have to include it, but again, really solid. So a 2.5 for me on that one as well.
I hate to ditto it, but that's exactly where I'm at on this as well. Good job. There's lots of things to improve. I gave it a 2.5. So
yep. Stanton, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give. I gotta be honest. I'm gonna have to give it a 2.
Yep.
Because I think that you should use more than one song throughout a wedding day, because there's a lot of different emotions that convey throughout a wedding day. And while a lot of songs convey a lot of different emotions through starting out with kind of like quiet, maybe strings or something, or a piano, and then vocals coming in, and then crescendoing, and then fading out, and things like that. There's a lot of different things that happen in this film, from the first look with her dad, the portraits, to the ceremony, to the dancing, to the grand entrance. That I would have added a song, like a different vibe song for the dancing, because that's, to me, that's the mark of like an industry standard film, was whenever you're adding multiple songs to it, and switching things up. Whenever I see the same song kind of just continue carrying on, and then like the dancing just kind of go in with like the portraits and stuff like that, that showcases just kind of like beginner or not industry standard. And so that's why I would give it that. But like, I think like instant improvement is just figuring out a good splice point in the song. And if you don't know how to do that, just message me and I'll kind of help you out with that and point you in the right direction for like content to help you do that. Splice it down to make the song shorter to end before you're dancing, and then have a dance scene with a different song that's more upbeat and different than the song you use in the other part of the film. I put this as part of editing because that is an editing thing, and not like audio. So that's why I'm giving it a 2.
Okay. Good. John, you can go for the next.
Which one's next? Where are we at?
Story.
I started petting my dog, so I got lost. Okay. Story for me, I think that they did a good job of like including vows, including speeches, and like learning some of the story, of the couple. And I feel like it was put together decently well. I landed on a 2.5 on this one. I don't feel like it like really gave me like the feels really too much. Some of that pairs with the audio. It's hard to like really get invested into story if audio isn't captured to a certain level. It wasn't bad, the story, but to include, and as you listen to more of our podcasts or YouTube channel or any of the stuff about like how to really build suspense, build like a hook, build different things into the story, like who are the characters, how are we incorporating like the keywords of the couple, different things like that. Those core things that you will learn about the couple, you can infuse more into the film. So to me, I gave it 2.5. Stanton?
We're on story.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep there. I guess subjectively there is some overlap in some of these, so I do get a little confused.
We do too. It's not a perfect
yeah.
system. We've never claimed to be perfect, Stanton. Okay, we get it.
No, I mean, if I was setting up a film review, I'd probably break it up like this as well. But for story, I think I would go with the 2.5 as well, because you did at least a good default industry standard is going to be more linear style stuff. and I also tend to be more linear with things as well, even just with my style of things. But you had the dancing portion. It wasn't like you put dancing in the beginning and you didn't put getting ready after the dancing. So at least there was a contiguous movement to it. But yeah, it was still like filled with portraits. I really like how you open though. Like openings are important. Fading from black, having your logo come up and it wasn't huge and ugly or anything like that. It looked good. But I think you did a decent job with storytelling. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. And I think the music that you can do, or music is a really good way of improving your stories. That's like music's by far the biggest thing. So pick good music to move your story. And if it's not moving it, change your music or change the song halfway through your film. So
okay. Yeah, I will go ahead and do a 2.5 as well. That's where I was leaning for the reasons that you guys said. As for color, I'm just going to go 2.5 straight across the board. This one, there were a lot of variations or a lot of stuff, you have a lot of stuff to learn, but it was, for the most part, whenever you're shooting in the same location, stuff looked the same. There's some stuff that's a little overexposed, but overall really good job. So I'm going to do a 2.5. John, what do you say?
I want Stanton to go. I see him over there, like with his scowl on his face. Like,
that's my RBF. I am just thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking too. Like, I'm watching some of these clips through, and like, I don't just want to, like, again, objectively speaking, like if we're just watching this and giving it not based on the first film, I personally think I'm landing on a 2 on this one. Like, I feel like more contrast being added. A lot of the shots are flat. There's a lot of things that are just like lights are on overhead. There's just a lot of like in-camera stuff that we could have done to like shape light, which helps the color, the backlit in different ways. There's a lot of things that it's just like you're going to learn over time, like where to place people to get the best color. Obviously you can't control everything in the ceremony. You can, but I choose not to try to control all the lights in different places. But overall with color, I lean between 2 and 2.5, but I think I'm going to land on a 2.
Yeah, based off of how we've graded other films here, I'm going to say a 2.5. I would say that it seems like it was like S log or C log or something, and a conversion lut put on it that was just still slightly overexposed. Like wasn't exposed completely properly. Could be solved in post by pulling midtones and shadows down some, and maybe pulling your highlights up to add contrast. But yeah, there are some fundamental things, the backlight and stuff like that. It is pretty consistent though, even like your contrast ratios are pretty consistent even when you're inside too.
Yeah, you're right.
But I would give it a 2.5. It's just a little flat and blah, but I do know that where you're at also depends on that. But there's a lot of tricks you can still do as you learn to make blah look great. So
yeah, I'm bumping mine to a 2.5. I think it's consistent. I think that word, the consistent, I mean, it is consistent throughout. But like when I'm thinking about it, it's like, yes, there's lots of room for improvement on a film like this. But like we've said 100 times, for your first film, kudos to you. Well done. You should be very proud. I'm sure that they got a heck of a deal on this film, way more than they bargained for. So good job. My total score was a 12.5.
All right. So that makes this one a 37 overall. I had a 12.5 and Stanton had a 12. So
all right, Nick, did you see the message Stanton texted you a little bit ago about
okay. I did.
Before we do that, I think I think the people are ready for the giveaway.
Giveaway time.
Do you want to do giveaway and then watch this next one?
Yeah, let's do a giveaway. We got one more film that Stanton's pulling through for a friend, I think so, or something. I don't know. But we have a lot of people apply or submit films. Sorry, we can't get to them all. We do take, obviously, as you can tell, a good amount of time on each film to kind of dissect it. Hopefully it's an educational learning experience for you. Even if you didn't get your film reviewed, you can see kind of our thought process. So yeah, if it's a possibility, Nick,
yep.
Or Blake, are we done letting people put their name in the giveaway?
Yeah. I mean,
no,
put the link one more time. Put the
one
link
more time. The link. Okay.
Okay.
Last call. If you want, let's see if somehow the number of people just goes up. We got 79 people watching. There's something wrong with my YouTube. It's just showing 61 thumbs up. I don't get it. So, but there's 79 of you watching. So is that messed up on your screen too, guys? Or that's weird?
Yeah, I'm seeing some weird discontinuity between that.
Yeah, there's definitely like 17, 18 more people. Like, I mean, Stanton. Oh no, it looks like it's glitching up towards the.
Oh, it's glitching up, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it should be at least 76 if that's how many people are watching. I mean, if this is, if you're still here 2 hours in, you have to at least like the content. Just saying. I'm just kidding. While we're getting that done, just as a quick reminder too, it's Mastermind launch week. I'm going to be taking Zoom calls all day tomorrow. If you want to schedule one with me, just to say hi, ask your questions about Mastermind, that's what I'm doing. Lots of Zoom calls, making sure people are on, that need to be part of the group. Me and Nick are very passionate about getting the right people in that group. We want to change people's lives, and we know that real change in the business happens when we're all together weekly. And so consider joining Mastermind by How to Film Weddings. All right, do we have everything we need?
Do we? Yeah. I think Blake is getting the wheel of names set up. Do we watch the film and then do it, or do the giveaway now?
I think we give it away. I mean, it's 10 after 4. Okay. Also, did you know, Nick? Did you know that at 4:30 in 20 minutes, our good friend Matt Johnson is going live doing film reviews? So if you're tired, if you're not tired of film reviews, you might as well just head over. He doesn't have that many followers or subscribers, so just maybe go over there, give him a subscribe.
You guys go help out this guy named Matt Johnson, get some
he's emerging on the scene. Give him a break, honestly.
Yeah.
He's kind of getting on the scene.
And it's also fallen that today is like Super Thursday for film reviews, because I know Wedding Film School did it at noon. We're doing it at 2. Matt Johnson is going at 4:30. So I'm sure that there's some of you are like Super Wedding Film Thursday. I think Blake has a chance to win this monitor. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. And just one more thought on like Mastermind and stuff. If you guys don't know me, I do want to get to know you guys, knowing filmmakers in the industry, building community. If you go to my Instagram and you see the last post, community is one of the most important things in your journey, because so much of it is exclusive and alone, even if you are married. And so I am also big on being honest. And so if you haven't yet, go follow me on Instagram at Films by Stanton, and send me a DM if you are scared of John and Nick because they're the biggest names in the industry and you want a subjective a viewpoint from my standard. Again, I haven't been in it for the full year, but coming in at November and seeing what they were at the beginning of the year and seeing the difference of everything and seeing how tenacious all of them were, still writing notes, asking questions. Everybody was still there, committed. And I don't think that people would be doing that without community, but feel free to hit me up about this. It is something that I'm stoked to be a part of. And I'm stoked for you guys to potentially be a part of too. So if it's right for you, I hope that it happens and works out. But you guys should at least apply, or at least talk to John, at least talk to me, at least talk to Nick. It's worth a conversation if you're wanting to elevate your business.
I love you, Stanton. We didn't pay him to say that. We did ask him if he wanted to come on, but we didn't.
I'm just trying to get Instagram followers, okay?
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to 100K.
100K? Is that the goal?
He just needs a couple more.
He's like at 12K now. He went up fast with his bear video.
Yeah,
tired of seeing that. Tired of it.
I'm about to drop it again.
Yeah, all right, so we're gonna draw this name here, and you have to be here to win. And if you're not here, sorry about you.
That sucks. Yeah,
that does.
Are
suck.
we ready?
So Blake's name is no longer on the screen, correct? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do this giveaway, and then we're gonna watch one more film, and then we're gonna get out of here for today. Look how much lean down I am. I look like a slouch. Sorry. I'm gonna sit way up. A slouch.
I see my name on there.
Did you enter to win? You're here.
I sure did. Did. Hello at filmsbystanton.com.
If he wins like that,
if I win,
hey, do you remember?
I'm gonna pick somebody to give it to.
There you go. Do you remember the girl when we did CWV launch and she won 2 days in a row?
Unreal. Just so lucky.
Yeah.
That felt,
all right, let's go.
That's happened to me with giveaways too. I've given away It's the same person twice. Becca's in there. Becca
deserves to win. She's great.
All right. I'm ready for this. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, we're ready.
Go.
All right, let's go.
Oh, Wheel of Names is going. It's spinning.
It says that David Reynosa has a course today too. That's funny. Or a class. All right, who's gonna win? Afterglow Weddings.
It's our friend Jason. Jason, are you here? Are you still here?
Isn't he from Scotland?
He is here.
Is he?
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Dude, we can't ship that over all the way over there. You're gonna cost us so much money, man. We're gonna send you a gift card. We're gonna send you an Amazon gift card or BH, whatever.
Oh man.
All right, who wants to watch one more film? If you do, just stay. If not, it's okay. I see the number.
I have a feeling this is, Cinegarden. They're the people that were a part of my Patreon. They did like the top tier thing, and they were like super invested, and they went from like 1 to 6 weddings, destination weddings, in like a matter of like months, and now they're just like those people now. So, just saying.
Well. Look who it is.
They're on the
Jake
scene.
Weisler.
Jake, I got Jake's phone number today. I'm just saying,
guys.
I'm a straight
here,
man.
I'll just share. I will share Jake's. Here, I'll put Jake's number on the screen real quick. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let me just.
Jake is
go live
he's what I call a flip switcher. You know what I mean? Like if the switch was going to be flipped for me, he could maybe do it. I'm just saying. He's cute. That's all I'm saying. He's a good looking guy. Okay. I love my wife, but Jake. Okay. Anyway, enough from me. Did this go out? Did this glitch? Is everybody on the phone or am I uncomfortable? Yep. It got real quiet. Everybody's on the phone like, okay. Anyway, Jake,
I will say that we lost 8 people when you started talking a lot about Jake.
Have you seen Jake? He just his eyes. Sometimes I'm talking to him and I'm like,
Call him now.
Oh my word.
Now.
That better not be his number.
It's not his number. But is it close?
I don't know.
480-740-2000. Who is that? I gotta see if it's his number. If it is, I'm gonna die. That is his. It's very close.
We're off by 1 digit.
Yeah,
which digit is it though?
Digit. Oh, that's so close to his number.
Okay.
Okay, guys. People, it's dwindling. It's dwindling. Okay, let's watch one more.
I know. Okay, let's go.
How long is this film, by the way?
It's 10 minutes.
Oh dear God! I can't really stand 9-minute film.
They're good. I mean, I haven't seen this film, but they deserve this.
Oh, okay. I can do it.
They got the email. Okay.
Yeah. I emailed them earlier.
Oh, fucking hey, Nick. I'm just kidding. I'm excited to see your film. It's an Iceland wedding video. I'm sure it'll be.
John, do you even know who Cinegarden is? Do you know them by name? What are their names?
I don't know them. I think I want to know them.
It's Rob and Adeline.
Hi, Rob and Adeline. I'm John. You should join Mastermind. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Oh, my word.
You guys should rejoin my Patreon.
Oh, this is getting weird. Jake, I have somewhere to be. Yes, I have to be in another room, get some fresh air, standing up.
I gotta take my depressed dog to the vet soon, so we should start this film.
And we want to be done by the time Matt Johnson starts. We're like ESPN and ESPN, like Sports Center, and we're going to be over on ESPN too. Like Get Up is about to come on. Like Matt's about to start. So let's do this thing. I want to see it. Rob and Adeline, right?
Rob and Adeline.
Love it so far.
Shh. Oh, was that part of the film?
Where
that
does
was
it
me.
start from? Like, it's just a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we were both pretty vulnerable at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking for a friend.
I was just more like a familiar feeling, and then it just grew from there.
Yeah, like it wasn't supposed to be.
We're not looking for anything, but at the same time, we were like, hey.
And then there just wasn't a day that we didn't talk. Coffee shop love story.
Right? It sounds made up, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
Nature is always in constant change, and time changes everything. Sometimes it happens so slowly that it gives us the impression that nothing has ever changed, but sometimes change happens so fast we can barely follow up. Through the centuries, this magical night called summer solstice has been celebrated in the Northern Hemisphere. This night is everything between light and darkness. Tonight we celebrate the joining of two persons in marriage, their time and change, their love and future adventures.
I mean, to me, she's just a genuine person. Everything about her is just so real. And so happy all the time.
So honest, so real. You're so sweet and funny. He's literally always making me laugh.
No point in making each other sad.
Yeah.
It's surreal what's going on around us.
Yeah.
Tonight we stand here at this unique place at the roots of Hjörleifshöfði.
There's a window I have open, I'll never let it close. Did I find it? Everything I need to know. Something about the rainfall, how it sounds when it calls. It knows so much more than the levy of a song.
May your love be like earth, rich, natural, and deeply rooted. Strong as rock, yet soft as sand, always growing and always patient. May your love be like water, moving constantly, changing, never still, never stagnant. By the power invested in me, granted by the Icelandic Humanist Association, I now pronounce you married as husband and wife. You may have kissed 1,000 times, but never as husband and wife. You may kiss your first kiss as a married couple. Megi öll svo ást og hamingja sem þið upplifið í dag vaksa og blómstra ykkar á milli og í framtíðin vera ykkur ætíð björt hvernig sem viðrar.
What do you guys look forward to in your future
it's not
together?
Traveling.
That's what I was going to say.
Just my adventure buddy.
Yeah. Just seeing and experiencing like the world together. Just I want to see new things with you, and
I mean, it'll be hard to top this one.
yeah, I'm sitting in like the softest thing I've ever sat in my life.
I'm not jumping the gun until I know it's over.
Wait for it. Wait. Oh,
It's over.
Okay.
Meh, it was all right. It was fine.
Quick question. Nobody's answering me. Did you see the clouds at the end? Go, Blake. Just
is that whenever you freaked out when I saw you like jump on the?
There, I think. Okay, type in polar stratospheric clouds.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then like go Google it. Yes. Well, no. Frick, I can't tell if this is the sunset or not. I don't know if this is the part I was talking about. I think it was before this.
That.
Anyway,
it was before this.
They're more rare than northern lights to see. They're like this kind of like rainbowy looking color that's in clouds that are up north. Anyway, I digress. I'm a nerd and I like Iceland, so
I think I saw you post about those kinds of clouds. Of course you are.
Thank you. Of course I am. At least once a year. All right, yes. John, take us away, dude.
Okay. I'm happy you shared this film with us. I think it's a great film to end on for the day. This is next level. I mean, it just is. I really appreciated
Definitely.
all the attention to the detail. I'm going to start with cinematography. I'm going to give it a 4.5. Like, I think that they did a really good job with the camera, with the landscapes, with the shots. I mean, I feel like it was next level for me. I'm giving it a 4.5. Stanton?
Nicholas?
I I I'm sitting here. Sorry, I'm sitting here watching this, and like I'm thinking, like what would make this a 5 on the shooting? Like what is pulling it down from a like a filming standpoint? I'm gonna give it a 5.
Whoa! A 5.
I mean, I can't
Wow.
I'm sitting here watching this and I'm going back like there I didn't see any camera shakes. I didn't see anything that like this is composed poorly. I didn't like I'm just like what why so I'm giving it a 5.
And a
It
5
was
is
really
excellence and
good.
knowledge and execution far above industry standard.
Yeah. And that's what this is.
I just was afraid to give it. I think so.
You're
I'm
a
just
wuss.
afraid.
Don't be
I'm
scared, dude. If you want to do it, do it.
Hey,
But be honest.
this is our YouTube channel. We can do whatever the crap we want.
that's why I'm staying with 4.5 till after I
Okay,
hear what
cool,
Stanton has to say.
I'm gonna go with a 4.5. I was really impressed. And I'm also gonna say that too. Speaking subjectively, I've known Rob and Adeline for the last year. I mean, they like literally joined my Patreon in January of last year, and they were like, the thing that gets me excited, John and Nick, you know, this is when people are excited and passionate and wanting to get better. And this is like, and it's not just the landscapes that are like actually better; it's the way they're shooting is like phenomenally better. And so, like the fading with the manual focus into a shot, fading into focus, and using out of focus shots, but you know, intentionally so, just like this shot on the screen, to reveal what's actually in focus. I think that is above industry standard.
Yeah.
There were a couple things with like the with the interview with them wrapped up in the blanket where the camera would shake or the composition would get a little wonky. But I know
Yes.
that's kind of a thing. But so that's why I'm not quite giving it a 5, but 4.5. Drone shots too. Birds are constantly attacking your drone in Iceland, and to get smooth shots and to be flying consistently, I mean that's a feat in and of itself.
Yeah,
So
these are dope shots. I mean, this is next level stuff. Like, I agree with you. Like the interview, like the angle, like felt like composition felt uncomfortable a little bit. This is fine. I just like I'm sure that like they're on the edge of a cliff or something. I just would have wanted to maybe see what is causing this to be the angle we've chosen. Then during the ceremony, feel like there was like the angles, the choices. Those are the only things that come to my mind. I'm like at 4.75, but I'm going to stick at 4.5. Okay. Audio.
That's definitely a round up.
I'm staying with 4.5. 4.74. Let's talk about audio.
Okay, talk about audio.
Stanton, what do you got?
Me? I'm going to give it a 4.5 as well. I like how everything faded out. I like how things faded in and out, I guess is what I should say. The only thing that was a little off to me, well, also the thing that makes it above industry standards, they're using sound effects in with their mix. But the only thing that's making me dock at half a point is how loud those sound effects were. I prefer, and I think Rob and Adam, you've heard me say this before, I prefer for those sound effects to be a little bit more sunk back and um, more in the background. So that's my only critique. But other than that, like the audio was great.
Nick?
John?
No, I said your name first.
I mean, I said it at the same time as you. Yeah, I will. I'm gonna go 4.5 also on the audio stuff. Vocals sounded great. You know, I know Iceland is super windy, and when they were sitting there doing those interviews, like they sounded crisp and clean. The officiant sounded really good. The sound effects, some were a little loud, but I mean, it wasn't like super distracting, but you know, just to my taste. Yeah, so I'm gonna land on a 4.5 as well. John?
Do
Do it.
I'm sitting here thinking,
do it.
I'm just sitting here thinking about like all the water, the sound effects going down underneath, the little clicks between the camera, like on the car, and the like when it was clicking, the shutter click, like everything was just really, really clean to me. I mean, yeah, there were some little like sound effects that might have been a little, you get excited when you're editing. Gosh, I wrote down 4.5.
Are you keeping it?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it a 4.5, but I'm going to move into editing.
Yep.
To me,
he said so
yeah, but to me, I feel like this edit, the way they piece it together again with the story, it kind of goes back and forth. But to me, I feel like they nailed the edit. The edit itself, to me, again, next level, much higher than standard. I have it down as a 4.5 as well. What about you guys?
I with what editing has in the category, it says pacing, creativity, technique, flow, skill. And I'm saving certain because like sometimes the lines between story and editing can be a little blurred because story is produced by your editing. But I'm going to save something for story. That I feel like it was, although it didn't feel like 10 minutes to me, I felt like it could have been shortened. That there were like kind of when I talk about the cycle a little bit. I felt like it was kind of rotating through the shots. Like I think I saw a couple shots of them walking toward a waterfall on a grassy walkway like 2 or 3 times, and then them standing over like a waterfall a couple times, and then them in the hot tub a couple times. And it felt like kind of that cog in the wheel coming back around again. But all in all, like the creativity that went into it with like the summer solstice and like the bubbles coming on screen instead of just showing or saying you may now kiss or you've kissed 1,000 times or whatever, like showing that with the bubbles, but that doesn't quite make sense yet. But oh yeah, well, there's the bubbles afterwards. Like that's really cool to me. So I was docking it, I was giving points. So I would say the editing was a 4 to me.
Nick, did you do yours?
No, I haven't done mine yet.
I did mine. So do you want?
I know.
We're live on YouTube right now, Nick.
we are. Wait, what's going on here?
There's only 45 people watching, so it's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a 4.5 on this one. I think that proficient above kept my interest, cut together really well. Yes, there was some recycling stuff, but that didn't bother me. But I like a lot of the elements that you used. I think that this is so far up the top, so good. Emily, I'm gonna go a 4.5 on this one. When it comes to the story of this one, man, I really liked how you included a story about the summer solstice whenever that wasn't necessarily like presented from dialogue, right? Like if you wouldn't have put that stuff in there, I would have had no clue that it was in there, but I can tell that they did it at this time on purpose for a reason. Like that was probably the biggest reason that they did their wedding there was because of the summer solstice thing. I really like how you included that. I liked, as far as the editing goes, how you included a lot of the text on the screen, and it felt good. It felt natural with how you did all those things. For story side, I'm going 5. Who's next?
Stanton's next. No, Stanton's next.
John's next. I heard somebody just told me. Somebody in the chat. Everybody said you're next.
Okay, I will go. I just was trying to be a gentleman. I'm sorry. You don't know anything about that. You and your perfect
age
hair.
Before booty.
I see what you did there. Okay, so yeah, like to me, I'm always like let's infuse a bunch of like the couple's story leading up, like, but like this took this to a different level for me in a totally different way, and I loved this story. I think that they did such a good job of like infusing like the home footage kind of things, like just the iPhone clips or whatever, with like layering this, keeping my attention for like, I didn't feel like, I mean, there was one part of the film, like 2/3, 3/4 of the way through, I was just like, okay, where's this? And then it picks right back up. And then the way that you kept the story going with text on the screen and the different ways you cut the edit. This is really, really good stuff for me. Again, I'm at a 4.5. I think that it's just unreal. Like, I mean, it's very, very good stuff. So I'm at a 4.5. Stanton.
I think one of the biggest challenges of the wedding videographer is finding story in a day that is just a ceremony and getting ready for it. Revealing yourself to your family, and having first looks, and like finding story in that. Oh, my hair light went out. But finding a different character to be the subject in the story is really difficult sometimes. Mm-hmm. And like when I saw you guys counting down to the solstice, I was like, frick. I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's really was
unique.
Cool.
That's really unique. And for story, emotions, under story, the categories were emotions, storytelling, captivating, depth. And I think it hit all those. I'm not trying to be partial, but like the fact, honestly, it was the summer solstice thing. So I'm going to give it a, you probably already know what to say. I think it was damn near perfect. So
okay.
I'm going to give it a 5.
I think it's deserving of a 5. I'm changing. Yeah. I 100% agree with you when it comes to like finding that character of the summer solstice and like making that a part of the story almost, or like a plot point or whatever we want to call it. Like the way that we layered this story along with just the beauty of it. I'm going 5. I'm going to do a 5 on story. You did it. You got me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. I guess that leaves color.
Yep. Last one. What do we got? You want me to go first on this one?
Yep.
Okay. I think that you like obviously where you're at, Iceland. We got the mood. We got the obviously the contrast, all the different things that go along with it. You incorporated like the rainbows, the clouds, all the stuff. I mean, I felt like I was there. I felt like it had this raw, organic vibe to it the whole way through. It was consistent. There weren't any shots that were like crazy overexposed, underexposed. All of the technique was so on point. 4.5 for me. Really good job.
Nick?
Yeah, Nick.
What could have made the color better? Like that's
don't ask me that question. It's your turn.
Like that's what I'm coming back to.
I went first.
I know. What could have made it better? And I think that you kind of graded the stuff. You colored the stuff that was rainy and overcast in a certain way, but then there was the beach stuff, with where it was bright sunny, and so you changed the color just a little bit based on that. Everything that was in the same location was really consistent. There was nothing in here that made me go whoop. I'm giving it a 5. It's my show. I can do what I want.
I just read the comment. John passing out 4.5 like he's Oprah. That's very funny. Okay, Nick gave it a 5 on color. Nick gave it a 5 on color. John said 4.5 because he can't just hand out a 5 because it has to be just so perfect. It blows my mind. It was so good.
I'm gonna give color a 4.
Yes.
Or I'll kind of split here, 4.55. I think it was good. I think it was above industry standard. There is a slight matte on it to what it feels like, which is more kind of like when I see the matte, like when you compare it to the sidebars, the true black of like what you're seeing on the top and bottom.
Yeah.
The blacks are very lifted. And so I guess it's a stylistic approach, but that's that's reducing contrast in the scenarios where you could have contrast and make images pop, not be as flat. And so like a lot of the foggy stuff, although inherently flat because of fog, it's pulling down the blacks just a little bit further is going to make that image stand out a little bit more, even like in this shot here. I think it was great. And again, this kind of comes down to style and choice too. I feel like a 4 is fair. It's from what I feel with color.
Stanton the jerk, giving out cheap 4s. I would say too that like color grading is something that I am actively learning and growing and working on, and have been pushing really hard over the last year. You vocalizing just like the what you just said, Stanton, helps me reiterate in my mind that I feel like this is a 4.5. It's not stylistically what I would have chosen, but I think it was really well done. And I'm trying not to like this is a Nick Miller Wild Oak vibe and I see why he has so many fives. I get it. Like, this is dope level 1000. I think it's great. I'm sticking with my 4.5, and I think my final score is a 23 out of 25. Holy shit!
And so wait, what do they have to get to be?
They
to
got
be,
it. They got it. They got
This
it. Whatever.
is an
I'm trying to build some
official.
anticipation.
This is an official How to Film Wedding selection with a total score of 69.
69 out of 75.
Out of 75.
Dang.
Dude.
Robin Adeline, good job.
Well done.
You don't have to
Glad
sign
we
autographs.
stayed
You
on
can
for
actually
that
clap.
one.
I am glad that we stayed on for that one. But yeah, guys, it's been a great day. We've been on here for almost 3 hours. Holy cow.
Stan, we owe you your paycheck. Thanks for doing that. Before we go,
if you could
Stanton,
just send over like an FX3 or 2.
Somebody freaking follow Stanton, join his Facebook group. There's his Instagram account. Just stalk him, send him a DM and thank him. Maybe join his Patreon. I don't know if you guys know or not. Stanton has a Patreon. He only talked about it like 1,000 times. He's got color presets. He's got all kinds of stuff. We appreciate you taking the time, good buddy. Excited to see you in our mastermind. If you have not signed up to apply, I saw a lot of applications coming in. Thank you for applying. We're going to get back to those within 48 hours, something like that. We're going to be going fast. So be on lookout for that. Monday is the last day of applications. Nick, thanks for being my best good buddy. Stanton, you're also getting up there. I'm just not going to lie. And then the guy behind the curtain, behind the scenes, we all got to thank Blake, the editor, for being the producer today, sitting behind the scenes, not even getting his face on screen for 3 hours, doing the hard work, making my job and Nick's job.
Blake's coming out with some funny reels. You guys need to follow him.
Dude,
yeah,
definitely.
let's throw some Blake up, Blake Polino. Just is it Instagram? Blake, you can talk, right? And they can hear you. Okay, Blake Polino. Is that what they need to follow? Instagram.com/Blake Polino. Okay. Yeah, Blake made a funny video yesterday.
I watched it like 13 times and laughed every single time.
Yeah, it was good. So we love you, Blake. We love all you guys that are still here. 36 of you. Appreciate you taking the time.
And remember, Jake Weisler's phone number is 480-740-2338.
Yep. So give Jake a call. Ask him about his cameras and stuff. So
yep.
Great job, everybody, today.
Big on free. So.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see ya. Nobody called me.
Oh, I got a social security number. Let me add that too.
446-28-2924. That's
literally
literally my social security number. Not really.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go take my dog to the vet.
Have fun with that.
Thanks.
There's the clouds. There's the clouds. It was just right there.
Yeah. It was on screen.
Yet? We're still on, aren't we?
Are we still on?
It's not this. It's not the sunset. No.
Blake, are we still live?
Yeah, we are still alive. We are still alive.
Oh my gosh. These people that are still on, these 32 souls, just seeing us be crazy, the real us.
Clouds before the fishing.
If you're watching this and you're not following me by the end of it, I'm going to do everything I can to find all your followers and tell them to unfollow you. It's going to be a cascading breakdown of the wedding videography industry.
That's the way we build business here.
I kind of take a more aggressive approach.
Yeah,
you
obviously.
guys are like nice. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I've been super nice, I think.
Dude, you were so helpful today.
You were very helpful. Very helpful.
Dude, it's so much more comfortable like this. Why didn't I do this the whole time? Oh,
I don't know.
Are we still on?
Hey, yeah, we are still on. Blake, I need to go. Can we
Blake, stop
end this?
Somebody buzz me out. Buzz me out.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. See you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for following, Brian.
Thanks for following us.